Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And welcome to the show where we wax poetic about the movies we see on a month-to-month basis. It's time to crack open our...
Movie Memoirs!
Movie Memoirs! Alrighty. Dragon, I'm sorry. For this movie Memoirs, it's hard to even get, excited about this episode that we're recording, buddy, because the more and more we go on to the current Voldemort situation that we're in right now, the more doom and gloom I'm feeling, man. I don't know. I'm becoming a little bit nihilistic in my old age. I don't know what to tell you, Dragon.
That you are. You're glass half empty. I'm glass half full on this month because I had a good time this month.
I'm glad you did. I don't know. I think the strongest thing that I saw was something that we did for the podcast. Keep in mind, I did not. I kind of passed on the Five Bloods just because mentally, I'm sure it's great. I want to check it out eventually. I just didn't know if I can handle it right now mentally, because I'm just kind of in a place where I binged the entire series of I Love Lucy because I just wanted happy comfort food TV. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, Dragon. I am not feeling optimistic about the theater situation, but we'll set that aside for now. You ready to get into some more or less, with the exception of a couple beats, some pretty terrible news?
It's been a crazy news month, June, for sure. A lot of crazy things have happened in June, so let's just fire right into the news. So first off, here's just something.
Well, I guess first off, there's one thing that is kind of like a beacon of hope, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. We're going this is I'm talking out there weird news, but I'll take it, So let's
weird news.
So Michael Keaton is returning as Batman. In other words, Keaton returns to Batman in a way.
Yeah.
So here's what we know. We know apparently that Keaton is he's not playing Thomas Wayne Batman in the new Flashpoint movie, but he will apparently be, as far as they're saying, assuming now, to be fair, it's looking like he's going to do it. In the past, when he's been rumored for roles, he usually accepts them. I'm saying for the Vulture, it was speculated he was going to be the Vulture. He ended up being the Vulture. So the chances are good that Keaton will end up fulfilling this arrangement. To what extent beyond this whole Flashpoint Batman 89 thing, I can't tell you, but it looks like they're at least eyeing him to be kind of this 89 Batman that might bleed over into other movies. That's kind of what it looks like so far.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm in light of the whole doom and gloom of we're never going to return to movie theaters and the theater industry is never going to be the same again. I'm into this. I feel like it's a good way for DC to have their cake and eat it too, in terms of hey, we've got a really cool cinematic universe crossover that even Marvel hasn't attempted yet. Because basically the thing that Marvel could do to top this, of course, we all know what it is. We all know the hand that they need to play. They need to get Tobey Maguire in for Spider-Man. But I don't know. I think this is a cool little ace up their sleeve that they have, and I honestly think Keaton Batman isn't just nostalgia at this point. It's literally bringing back a legendary portrayal of the character.
That it is. The thing I'm more excited for is something that's still kind of speculated that somehow, again, this is the crazy world we're living at with DC right now, where we're bringing back Snyder cuts and there are shows in development, and we're bringing Keaton into things in this world where anything can happen now with DC. The thing I think myself and a lot of people are hoping for is that even if he's doing multiple versions of a Batman, the hope is that he will be old Bruce Wayne in a Batman Beyond show they may be developing for HBO Max. I don't know what that's going to be, a movie or a show or what, but the point being, Keaton coming into Batman Beyond, I think, is the dream role for Keaton in terms of coming back, where he wouldn't have to wear the bat suit, but he would absolutely bring kind of the performance and the mythos and that for me, that's the biggest hope I have. But let me tell you one thing about this thing. Of course, all this is coming about with Flashpoint. Here's the thing. Here's why everyone's a little unsure about the Keaton thing. Because you think, oh my God, Keaton comeback would be universally all right. And it kind of is. But the thing is, Flashpoint is up in the air. What exactly is going on? Because Ezra Miller may or may not be coming back for Flashpoint. They're hyping up this Flash movie, even though obviously right now movies are a little what is DC's plan? We're focusing on Wonder Woman right now. Where is it going to go afterwards? there's a lot of hanging chads with Flashpoint right now. The thing I heard that disheartens me is that they're not going to do Thomas Wayne Batman in Flashpoint in lieu of this Keaton Batman, which kind of bums me out.
I mean, that's something that I really have no stake in as a non-comic fan, Dragon. So,
well, sure, but I mean, you saw the movie, you saw the adaptation. I mean, you don't even have to know the whole thing. I'm just saying, like, Keaton, like even.
Look, I'm just saying that Michael Keaton is Batman is a good substitute for me. I don't have like the heart in it. Like, I don't want to make this into an argument, but for me,
I mean, no, sure.
I'm just more into the casual side of things. I'm more into the cool, like I frankly don't give a shit about the comics. I don't. I'm sorry.
All right, well, fine. I'm just going to drive this one thing home. And again, Keaton is a positive thing. I'm just saying that it really sounds like because everything's up in the air of Flashpoint, there is kind of like they're stuck calling it Flashpoint, where it's just going to end up not really being Flashpoint, which is, I guess that's where they're going with it. It's just a little weird. That's all I'm saying. It's like, well, why are we calling it Flashpoint if there's not even time travel or alternate Batman, or I don't know. We're just going with it. We're going to see how it turns out. Fingers crossed. We'll see.
I mean, I assume that there would be time travel and that it'd be like an older Bruce Wayne. Like that, I don't know.
I mean, I guess,
really
but I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, hopefully good.
So, Ray Fisher's got some things to say, Dragon.
Yeah, speaking of the DCU, Ray.
Oh, boy.
Ray Fisher is out of the. Well, I mean, I guess not out of the blue because all this Snyder Cut news coming about. I guess it was kind of inevitable if the guy would have this kind of grudge to burn. Where you gotta remember there was a lot of footage cut from the Snyder Cut of Justice League, including as you can even see in the trailers, there was some Cyborg stuff that was left on the cutting room floor. And basically, I guess Ray Fisher's kind of voicing a little bit of a kind of a Jared Leto thing right now, where it's like, you cut all my scenes, man. They just let me in with Booyah, and just like you didn't shove me with Wonder Woman. That's all you had left.
I don't know. I don't have much of a stake in this, but I feel like, we could always use more diversity in superhero films, of course, and I feel like Cyborg was kind of shafted in that way in Wonder Woman.
Well, in Justice League.
God, Justice League, I'm sorry.
Well, I don't blame you. Wonder Woman 84 is on my mind, too, sir. I really want to see that movie. Anyway,
right, I hear you.
But here's the bigger part of the news, though, Tiki. I mean, he said a lot of disparaging things about Joss Whedon. That, again, it's really disheartening to hear, but, I mean, I like to think, honestly, it's like kind of glass half full here. I mean, take it for what you will. Maybe I'm being too optimistic. I like to think it was just a stressful production all around, and maybe Whedon was not his best self because he was kind of thrown into it. Maybe I'd like to think.
I really can't imagine Whedon would be at his best self in that situation. It wouldn't be possible for him to be at his best self.
The way Ray Fisher kind of tells, and the way kind of like some people have kind of spoken to what they've heard on the set and everything, is that Whedon was kind of basically kind of forced into the directing chair, where it wasn't like his project from the beginning. He's calling things out because again, there's a deadline to meet. And basically kind of maybe being a little disparaging. These effects don't look great at all. Like, what is going on here? Where, again, those people, we worked on those effects,
well, he's not wrong.
I know, that's wrong. And you're absolutely right. I know, that's what I'm saying. No one's talking about that, though. No one's talking about the fact, well, look, it's harsh, but again, if he has a deadline, and we've seen Snyder's other work.
Does look like shit, kids.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, again, like I would like to think he's being harsh with a purpose. That guys, we got to fix this. And again, obviously, it didn't really fully get fixed at the end of the day, so it's kind of a moot point. But you see what I'm saying? It's just that. But I mean, I'm hearing that stuff. I'm feeling sympathy. But then again, I'm hearing he may have kind of bullied Wonder Woman on the set, which I can't get behind. Oh, no. So yeah, nothing. Basically,
that I can't get behind. Yeah.
Did you hear about this? You want me to tell you the thing?
No. Well, I don't want to spend. I don't want to spend too much.
Okay. Well, the point being is like it was like kind of a forced-in scene that he kind of pushed for. She didn't want to do. Anyway, the point being, it is what it is. Oh, I think there's some gray in between, but. It's disheartening to hear. It just sounds like Justice League was a even more convoluted project than when we thought. And I don't know, people are putting too much hope in the Snyder Cut fixing everything. I can just see that on the writing.
I agree. I agree. I know that's not a popular opinion, but all right. So speaking of happy DC news, oh wait, hold on. Let me. Claude Karinga is in the. Claude, we'll get to both your points soon as we get through these DC things. Happy to have you here, though. All right, happy DC news, Dragon. Happy.
Okay, I know you're going for the ironic point here, but that's just it's a little disrespectful given what we're about to do.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, but you're right. More.
I know nothing of this situation, Dragon. Nothing. Nada.
Okay. Here's the thing. So, okay. So I'm just gonna blaze over this one real quick. There's not a whole lot here. It's just Hartley Sawyer, who plays Elongated Man on The Flash. He was fired in June. Basically, long story short, it's kind of a less defensible James Gunn situation with the tweets. They found old tweets. They were not great. Unfortunately, it's not fully like a James Gunn thing where people have a flair for, oh, that's how James Gunn was, though. He's always got the edgy humor. Where Hartley Sawyer is, I won't get into the details. I'm just saying his stuff is a little less defensible. And here's the only thing I want to say about it is that I really question how they're going to fix this once they're back in production, because in the last season, they built up this whole Elongated Man finding his wife thing, where he's going to find the girl who eventually will be his wife, and like she introduced her and made a whole big thing about it. And I wonder if there's going to, because he can shapeshift. He's like Mr. Fantastic. He's Elongated Man. He can stretch and everything. I wonder if he's going to change his face so he can be a different actor or something. If he's going to morph his face one day and they're just going to write they're going to write him out, and then they're going to be stuck with the Sue Dibney character. Like, why did we build? She's she's sticking around. I don't know why. Like, we right Elongated Man. Why is she here? Anyway, so some real sad DC news. I mean, Hartley Sawyer, it's like, it's weird, but
yeah, you're right. This is I can't remotely joke around about happy here.
Yeah. Folks, we lost 3.
Denny O'Neil, I'm vaguely familiar with Denny O'Neil. Dragon, of course, you are the big fan in the room about this guy. You can speak way better to his legacy than I can.
Yes, I adored Denny O'Neil. I really did. This guy, if there's a Mount Rushmore, I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit of kind of Fat Man on Batman, or Fat Man Beyond, whichever moniker you like to go with. But it's if there was a Mount Rushmore of Batman writers, Denny O'Neil absolutely is on it, because you have Frank Miller, Paul Dini. I think Bill Finger kind of constructed the Mountain, so I don't know if he really counts, but you know what I'm saying. But Bill Finger, as well as like Scott Snyder, Denny O'Neil is absolutely on that Mount Rushmore.
Mm.
Denny O'Neil, he's pivotal, along with Michael Uslan. In life, the closest you're ever going to get to meeting Batman's equivalent to Stan Lee, that was living and breathing. It was Michael Uslan and Denny O'Neil. I had the pleasure of meeting both of these guys. Now, Denny O'Neil, long story short, every time I bring up Denny O'Neil on the animated Batcave, I kind of recap this information. But essentially, Denny O'Neil was the writing team with Neil Adams that came on in the 70s for Batman. Denny O'Neil is the reason we have a detective Batman coming back, because Batman was a detective in the 40s, and they kind of trailed off for decades until the 70s, where he said, okay, Batman's the world's greatest detective. Let's show that. So he's back to being kind of a serious detective. We're coming out of 60s Batman, craziness. He kind of returns with the 40s noir, and Denny O'Neil, he trains Frank Miller. Like, he was Frank Miller's idol. He was kind of his mentor. So we don't get Frank Miller Batman without kind of the 70s, the guy who kind of really showed you how to do a serious take on Batman, which then Miller kind of got a little bit more gritty with, and then so on. And that the other two huge claims to fame Denny O'Neil has, he created the unpredictable Joker. He's the reason we have kind of like, you don't have a Mark Hamill Joker without Denny O'Neil. You don't have like that whole well, that was fun. Who's for Chinese? You don't have that. We don't have Harley Quinn the Joker versus the real world, basically taking Joker away from Batman for like a series. You don't have that without Denny O'Neil doing his series on the Joker, which is like Joker is the main character. You don't have that. Ra's al Ghul, Denny O'Neil, Death of Jason Todd. I could go on, like Batman, Venom, Green Lantern, that famous thing we did for Black History Heroes. The whole, the big moment with Green Lantern. You have all the purple skins, the orange skins. Like, what do you do about the black skins? That famous moment. You don't have that without Denny O'Neil. These are huge moments. This guy was a titan within the industry. I met him twice. The second time, I got to tell you, it's kind of hard to see your heroes kind of wounded, because he was outliving his friends, family, and collaborators. But he was still delivering, man. Like, he was chatting me up. He was such a nice darling of a human being. One of the brilliant storytellers, Titan and Batman. I missed Denny O'Neil so much. He was so great.
All right. Well said, Dragon. Well said. Way more poignant than anything I could possibly spew out of my mouth about the subject. Okay, so Joel Schumacher. I can get a little bit misty-eyed about this guy. I can. I feel like Joel Schumacher as a filmmaker is very misunderstood. I feel like his best movie will always be Lost Boys. Maybe I'm just saying that because it uses the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk extensively, and I love the locations there. But Dragon, as you know, Batman and Robin, one of my all-time favorite so bad it's good movies. Honestly, to me, the definitive Joel Schumacher moment is when he apologizes for Batman and Robin. But here's the deal, Dragon. I legitimately don't think that Joel Schumacher needed to apologize for Batman and Robin, because it really was the studio's fault for like pushing the toy, the toy thing on it. Like, hey, we need to have all these things look like toys. Like, that really was more the studio than it was Schumacher. So I feel like Schumacher kind of like taking a bullet for the team really was just one of the most admirable things I've ever seen a filmmaker do. And he definitely had some misses towards the end of his career, like Phantom of the Opera for one, not a great adaptation of that show. But overall, he was just a very, very eclectic filmmaker with a really, really centered style, and that was drenched in neon and drenched in 90s. And I'm honestly not really surprised that his career didn't really last past the 90s, because I feel like he was a filmmaker that was kind of like really just defined by that time period, his style, his voice. And for me, with Batman Forever and Batman and Robin especially, and The Lost Boys, I think he's definitely cemented a legacy.
Think about how bold a move that was, Tiki, when he did that famous apology for Batman and Robin. Like, like studios, that never happens in the industry. You never have someone saying, I was culpable, I did what I was told, but that's no excuse. I knowingly went along with this, and I made a bad movie. And I get how bold and how historic that is. And again, like he's just so sincere. And it's so rare.
Be the moment that he's going to be remembered for, Dragon. That's like his defining moment right there.
Every time I watch the behind the scenes on Batman and Robin, or like basically, I forget if it was specific. I know there was a bonus feature on Discord where he does the apology and does it in the commentary as well. But I'm pretty sure it was like during the big.
I'm pretty sure it was specifically the Shadow of the Bat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the one I always go to. Yeah. I forget if it made into other parts of the special features as well, but I know it was directly on that. That's the where I had. I know that because you always feel something when that moment happens. Where it's like, this is kind of like the kind of a down, because that only goes up to the the Schumacher movies, and that's kind of a down ending to have in that documentary, Cinematic Shadows of the Bat. And it's like there's something poignant about that moment. There, oh God, he just really apologized, and you forgive him because he means it. He's very sincere about the apology. Sometimes, folks, sincere apology can convey so much. But again, he also had a plan to redeem himself with Batman Triumphant. He had a heck of a plan for Batman Triumphant. Like, he wanted to approach Batman seriously, and the studios wanted to go completely the other direction after Batman Returns. That's why
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, like, he complied with that, and he did something, again, and he never gets enough credit for Batman Forever. Because Batman Forever, see, as a kid, when I saw the Schumacher films, like, again, I was like, I took them as they were, and I was just really excited to see something that was at least close to Batman the Animated Series in live action, because it had something that very much aesthetically was Batman the Animated Series with the Burton films. And you had something that's like, okay, we have like a Robin who's kind of like the college-age Robin that we have in the animated series. We have some stuff like that. We have kind of like a little bit of a lighter tone. We're getting there. And again, Batman and Robin had Mr. Freeze in it. And we have like the little moments that do it. They have a Batman Alfred relationship that does bring a tear to the eye when Alfred's dying, and you have the moment Mr. Freeze is watching his wedding video. And I loved, again, that the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing could have worked. It really could have, because you see him watching his wedding video. Something really beautiful about that. Anyway, my point is, Schumacher, he was kind of underappreciated because he became so infamous with the Batman Robin correlation. It's a shame that I like to think now people are looking upon him a little bit more fondly. I hope it's not just for the reasons like, well, he's departed, now we have to be nice to him. But seriously, though, I mean, the man did do good things for the industry. He was a nice director, from what I hear. He definitely had Kevin Smith's glowing about the active nightlife that Joel Schumacher had. He was a bit of a playboy in real life. I'll say that much. I don't know if you've heard about that, but it's quite funny. But anyway, the point being, Schumacher, he's earning respect. He's earning more respect, and maybe that'll kind of translate people giving the films another watch and give a little more forgiving watch. And it's like opening their minds a little bit. I don't know.
All right, so Carl Reiner, Dragon. Now I'm going to give you the floor on this, but I just want to point out the fact that I have not seen a lot of this guy's movies, and I need to make it a point to. But I have seen a very eclectic selection of his movies. You want to know that eclectic selection, Dragon?
I would.
Okay, in chronological order, this is like the most eclectic of them all. but I remember him in it, and it's only because Teenage Tiki had a fascination with Polynesian culture. Gidget goes Hawaiian.
Okay.
And I remember him being very funny in it. Number 2, probably his most notable role for the kids in the room, the Oceans movies. You know, for our generation, he was in all of the Oceans movies, including Oceans Ocho, which I haven't seen, or Oceans 8, or whatever that was called. And then number 3, he played one of the agents in The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
That I definitely remember.
So, yeah, eclectic mix of things that I was like remembering looking at his IMDb. But still, he was definitely, again, Dragon, I'll let you speak to his classic movies, because they're definitely sort of a blank spot in my pop culture resume, apparently.
So, Carl Reiner was, again, I don't know, I'm just echoing the Titan, but, like, I keep going with
Oh, and of course,
Titans.
Toy Story 4, Carl Reiner-saurus.
Yes, that was the most recent thing you definitely saw.
Yeah.
And also, on Forky, he reprised the role for Forky.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Carl Reiner, again, I don't want to just echo the whole Titan in the industry thing, but seriously, Carl Reiner, even, I mean, just an equivalent level to Denny.
He was, what, like 98 years old or something?
Yes, 98 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, of course, the thing I always know Carl Reiner for is he's Rob Reiner's dad.
Uh-huh.
He is, of course, Mike Stivic, the famous, Rob Reiner. Harry Met Sally. Anyway, so this, his father, of course, he really built a name for himself all the way back in Dick Van Dyke. I forget if I know he's a writer on Dick Van Dyke. I don't think he created it. The point being, he was heavily involved in Dick Van Dyke for many years. He was best friends with Mel Brooks. They were like Bert and Ernie best friends, man. They always hung out. They would have dinner with each other almost. They practically lived together. I mean, these guys are the closest of buddies. And I mean, again, they did like they came up with some really iconic bits together. They do all sorts of comedy routines. Of course, the biggest one being the 2,000-year-old man sketch, which is just priceless. Basically, Carl Reiner's interviewing Mel Brooks, who's just being kind of this wacky 2,000-year-old man. It's worth checking that, I'll say that much. So, of course, he's always kind of known for kind of the friendship with Mel Brooks. Of course, they're very like-minded when it comes to comedy. The biggest signature Carl Reiner might have in the comedy world is The Jerk, which I would argue made Steve Martin's career. I mean, that along with his stand-up is what made Steve Martin's career. The Jerk is what put him on the map cinematically. It was... Basically, it's just, what if you had a character who was just kind of lovably stupid, who was just ignorant to what... Basically, again, you call it a jerk because he's kind of like, to any passerby, he'd be like a jerk. Like, no one can be this stupid. He's just being an ignorant guy. Like, no, he's actually...
Hey, Dragon.
Yes?
He's not smart. He's a jerk.
Sure. Anyway, sorry. The point being, certainly a classic. I mean, just so many, basically, the whole movie starts with Steve Martin saying in the camera, "I was born a poor black child." I mean, come on, tell me that's not hysterical. I mean, and of course, as it goes on but again, he played with such an earnestness, and just Carl Reiner knew so many kind of lines, like "There's something wrong with these cans." It's so funny. I mean, I don't want to quote The Jerk all day. I mean, many people love The Jerk. I mean, look at Michael Rosenbaum has a huge poster of The Jerk in his office when he does his podcasting. Anyway, Carl Reiner, huge signature there. I remember seeing him he had played a character in the Cleveland Show for a while, which is going to come back into the news later, so I'll bring it up now. It's one thing, Carl Reiner, he played kind of like Crotch, the old man character that befriended Rollo, and was they made fun of Up as well, as you can probably imagine, which is kind of funny. And of course, Toy Story 4 being the most recent thing. So I think it's appropriate Carl Reiner, having had such a signature in kind of film and everything, he appears in Toy Story 4 with Mel Brooks as well. Mel Brooks appearing, and Carol, literally all the comedy classics were in Toy Story 4 and made a reappearance in Ask Forky a Question. So just great.
All right. So moving on, let's get to transition from genuinely sad news to, let's say, kind of some controversial news.
Yes.
So yeah, Dragon, the voice acting industry is a changing, my friend.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's ridiculous. I think it's utterly ridiculous what's going on right now in the voice acting community.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous, and I've always said this, ever since this shit started happening, like about a week or so ago, or whatever, however long it's been.
Well, it's been through
Listen to
this
Cree.
month. So.
Okay, through this month, sure. Listen to Cree Summers. Cree Summers is like, she should be, I don't want to like put her on a pedestal, but she should be on some sort of a pedestal when it comes to minority representation and voice acting. Cree Summers firmly believes that one of the best things about the industry is that you can be whoever you want in the voice acting community. Now, does that mean that the character of Cleveland Brown, you know, Dragon, I think we can maybe take Cleveland as like a point of debate here.
Yeah, we're going to have to debate on Cleveland, but go on.
But I don't know. Okay, so here's the thing about Cleveland. I don't personally agree with it, and I honestly don't think it would be much of a problem at all if it weren't for the Cleveland show. But Dragon, you got to admit, the Cleveland show is a little messy. It's a little messy.
As a show as a whole, sure, but I'm saying he's been voicing Cleveland far before that show. That's what I'm talking about.
Here's what I'm gonna get at here in terms of like I'm trying to understand the other side of the coin. I feel like Mike Henry on Family Guy was very, very like the whole point of the joke of Cleveland, the whole point of like he's a white guy voicing an African American character is that Cleveland Brown is like the most goddamn domesticated African American there's ever been, right?
Well, I mean, I really don't think that's the point at all, honestly. I mean, people watching the show, they're not even going to know unless they know the behind the scenes that Mike Henry is doing the voice of Cleveland. No one's not 100% going to know that. So sometimes people find out and they find, oh my God, Mike Henry's doing the voice of Cleveland. What?
Well, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say though is that I feel like in the Cleveland show they go more out of their way to use some more ghetto slang with Cleveland, and I've seen it firsthand in the Christmas specials that we've talked about, where that kind of stuff is not really as present in Family Guy.
Let me put it here. Look, here's my perspective on the whole matter, not just Cleveland. But the Cleveland.
I'm just saying, Cleveland show muddies the waters, Dragon.
I'm saying what muddies the waters with Cleveland is that there's a decline in quality that gets lazy, and that bolsters your argument for Cleveland. When once again, like the latter season of the Cleveland show, they give up, and then it kind of gets in the borderline offensive territory there. And then, of course, modern day Family Guy, he returns to the show, and now we're just getting lazy. And just like that's where he started. That's where I hear your point, Tiki. But I'm saying as a whole, looking at it let me lay out my thing here. So, voice actors are put in the roles because they're right for the role, or because they're funny for the role. The point being, either the role. If it's comedy, obviously you're going to get someone who sounds funny in the role. Otherwise, it's going to be whoever is right for that role, whoever can do the proper voice for that role. Because of course, voice actors in their industry, what makes them valuable is that they can do multiple voices. They can do multiple characters. They can play anything from all walks of life, even space aliens, technically. So just because it's like this, like just because someone else was funnier or more right for the role, that's what I'm saying. Like it makes, because someone was more right or funnier for the role, that doesn't make it racist, I guess is what I'm getting at here in a roundabout ways. It doesn't. Because someone because someone is just going to be right for the role. It doesn't matter what they look like off camera. Like, for example, Jenny Slate and Mike Henry are the kind of the prime examples for me. Jenny Slate is insanely funny. That's why you want her for that role. It doesn't really matter what the
Jenny Slate is one I will agree on, and not to mention that role is, I don't know how much this matters, but that role is mixed African-American, and also, I believe Kristen Bell in Central Park, too, is mixed race. So I don't know, Dragon. Again, I'm trying to see it from the point of view of the African-American community. I'm not, because of course, Dragon, as we joke a lot of the time, what are we, Dragon?
We're David Hyde Pierce skiing, folks. We're the whitest white man you're ever going to meet in this walk of life. David Hyde Pierce skiing.
So from that perspective, Dragon, I feel like this is an issue that we can't entirely talk about one way. I'm not saying we're not allowed to talk about it. I'm just saying, like, for me, I'm not going to put my foot down and say, like, no, Mike Henry has to play Cleveland. But I do think it's a slippery slope. And where I think it's a slippery slope is when you get characters who are ambiguous in race. And what I really don't want to see is something like anime, for example, because anime, there's a whole industry of dub voice actors. And I don't want to go down a whole tangent here, but we can't, I just don't think it's even possible to, get that much forced diversity into these roles here. And I know with anime, the argument is that, like, anime does have Eastern characters, like Eastern and Western characters, and usually the Western characters are kind of portrayed to be the idiots. But I don't know. First of all, I don't think that every anime has a separation between Eastern and Western characters. I really don't. And secondly, I just think, like I said, it's kind of a slippery slope, and I really don't want it to get to a point where it's like, okay, like. And also, Dragon, another thing we should be talking about here is, like, look at people like Phil Lamar, who have, clearly voiced a number of white characters as well. So I just, again, I'm trying to see it from the other point of view. I really am. I'm not trying to dismiss this. But for me, it's a slippery, I keep saying the word slippery slope, and I keep going back to Cree Summers, though, Dragon. I keep going back to Cree Summers.
Well,
Let
me jump in here. So here's the thing. Okay, so one, I think a lot of this frustration should more, in regards to the voice acting community, should really be directed at, let's get the voiceover performers into movies instead. That's what all this really should be directed to. Exactly. Let's get the classic voice actors, or like the people who really know the business, the really talented people. Let's bolster their names, get their names out there by putting them in movies instead of like going for the big celebrities. I think that's really what the voice acting, the discrepancy and dispute should be these days. That's the one should be making headlines instead of this. But let me put it this way, okay? In regards to the situation at hand, unless we're in like the Apu situation was something entirely different. Okay, there was an argument to be made there. Okay, there's an argument to be made, but I mean, we're just looking at, you can't voice a character of a certain ethnicity unless you are that ethnicity. I think that's really reductive. I really do. That's getting voice actors out of the job. Again, there are a number of talented black voice actors, but again, you can only go to these people. What if they're not right for the roles? What if that's not the voice or the sound you want coming from them? Then you're going to be hamstrung. What if everyone gets busy with so many projects simultaneously? It's just going to get really reductive. It's going to get really crowded. And here's my bigger point. This was never a problem until now, until we're now all on edge, and that's why now it's a problem. It was never a problem when Family Guy was getting off the ground for many years. I mean, look, even if we change the voice of Cleveland from Mike Henry to somebody else, it's not going to save Family Guy. Family Guy's gone down the toilet for years. It's not going to help him at all.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. I'm bothered by it, but by the same point, that show's given up already. So I'm only like, I feel it's a shame because Mike Henry did so many great things with that character in the past, but now it's just, now it's for naught, but still, it's the principle of it. Like, guys, it didn't bother anyone then, yet now we're all on edge. And I think it's like yet another ridiculous thing we're just kind of throw into the pyre. Like, now we have to get on arms and everything, now on the animation front. That's what I feel it is. I mean, take it for what you will, folks. I don't know.
Clark Coringa makes a great point. Does this mean that Joe has to be voiced by someone actually in a wheelchair? That's the logic that some people are going by.
I mean, the next thing I'm going to hear is that people are offended that Phil Lamar did the voice of Samurai Jack because he's not Asian.
Exactly, and
that's what I'm saying. There's a line, and people aren't realizing there's a line.
Guys, you need saying, what about Mrs. Beakley from DuckTales? She's voiced by a black woman, but it's a white duck character. Yep.
This is what I'm saying, folks. There's a line we're going to keep
slippery slope.
We keep redrawing the line. It's just going to we're going to have crayon everywhere. That's what's going to end up happening. Okay.
Also, Monkey says, wheelchair isn't a race.
Response to the whole Joe having to be in a wheelchair for another Family Guy comparison. You need a paralyzed actor.
So, Dragon, transitioning from that fun little mess, it was the 4th of July last night, and you know what the 4th of July reminds me of, Dragon?
Sharks.
Yeah, it reminds me of Jaws. Because, the whole, like, in what situation would we ever have a scenario, Dragon, where it's not safe to go to the beaches on the 4th of July and people aren't happy about it, and you get where I'm going with this.
I do, and of course, I'm shocked more people aren't connecting certain people to the mayor from to the mayor from Jaws?
Oh, they are, Dragon. They are. Don't worry about it. They are. I've seen
Seriously, the mayor had a really sweet-looking jacket in that movie, all the anchors and everything. I was more anyway, the point being, though, seriously, folks, so watch Jaws. It turns 45 this year. Again, on June 20th, it turned 45. Jaws has been around for 45 years, 45th anniversary. Been really cool, and I definitely rewatched it in the 20s. It's really cool.
Nice. Yeah. All right, just wanted to mention that, folks. Not really news per se.
Little thing to brighten the mood. I mean, it was news. I mean, it happened. So there you go. Okay.
All right. So now something else that Claude brought up: the Seth Rogen TMNT series, Dragon.
Oh no, movie. Take it's a movie.
Movie. Sorry, movie. This is being done by Nickelodeon, right?
Yes. So what's happening is, if you remember the Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing they did, it was a Nickelodeon kind of co-production with DC. So it's Nickelodeon owns the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so they're doing it now. Yeah.
Mm. Nice. I think Seth Rogen's a good person for it. I think Seth Rogen is kind of like, this is gonna. I mean, no disrespect.
Well, remember, it's him and his producer. It's him and Evan Goldberg. Those guys produce a lot of, like, they did Preacher and everything. These guys do good work together.
All right. And I mean no disrespect to Kevin Smith when I say this, Dragon, because I love Kevin Smith. But I feel like Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are the voices of the geek community that actually get shit done. I'm so sorry. Kevin Smith.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean, though, Dragon. You know what I mean.
I mean, look, Kevin Smith's working on the He-Man show, but it takes time to animate, darn it.
But I'm just saying, like, I just think Seth Rogen is more reliable with, like, you give him something and he's gonna pull through it, man. He's gonna make it work. And I think with this news, I'm excited about it. I'm not particularly, like, stoked for TMNT. I mean, I was into TMNT when I was a kid. I think I outgrew it long ago, if I'm being completely honest with you. But that being said, I will probably give this one a chance, especially Dragon. Is this going on Netflix? Maybe.
I think so.
Because Nickelodeon does have that Netflix deal.
I think it might be because I mean, considering it probably will go to Netflix. It probably will because that's how they've been doing their features and stuff with the Nickelodeon kind of redone things. But I don't know with Viacom on CBS All Access. That's why I'm not 100%. I'm not sure.
Gotcha. All right.
But I would imagine this has to get a home video release. I imagine they're gonna even if they do stream it, it might also get like a DVD release so other people can watch it. You'd imagine. So
sure.
A rental thing as well. I mean, anyway. I don't know if he's going to do the voice of any of the turtles, though. That's the thing that's interesting, because he might just produce it, which is totally fine.
I would think that he would be just a voice of the turtles.
No,
I'm sorry, just not the voice of the turtles, just producing, and then the voices of the turtles would be just, I would assume just use the voices they already have. I don't know.
Well, remember, Tika, each time they kind of revamp like who's doing the voice of the turtles. It's not always the same guys. They always kind of shift them around, so it's entirely. I mean, we might get a whole new ensemble of turtles. I mean, it's a wait and see. Sometimes they take the existing ones and they give them different roles as turtles. So it could be like Rob Paulson used to be Raphael. Nowadays he's Donnie. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Also, Clark says Nickelodeon recently bought the Smurfs property, and there's a 3D animated Smurf series being made. I hope Ben Schwartz versus one of the Smurfs. Yeah, I'm not really all that into Smurfs myself, Claude Coringa, but it could be interesting. I will say that Smurfs: The Lost Kingdom, or was that what it was called? Smurfs: The Lost Kingdom.
You mean the animated one?
Yeah, the new animated one.
Maybe. It sounds familiar. I think you're right.
Well, I will say that that was a significant step upwards from the live action Smurfs. So,
also,
if it maintained that quality, then go ahead.
I remember I hated Ben Schwartz in something I saw recently. I rewatched it too. I rewatched Space Force. I hate him in Space Force so much.
Oh God! Oh, shots fired.
No, I liked him. Here's the thing: I liked his voice in Sonic. I haven't watched the whole thing. It's in the clips I saw. I did like him as a voice of Sonic. But again, voice acting wise, I'm just saying he played a character I just couldn't stand. Anyway. So, side.
All right. Let's see what's next.
Other Seth Rogen news.
Right. American Pickle Dragon. So this
Wait, isn't it American Pickle?
An American pickle. You're right. You're right.
Makes it funny.
Dragon,
It's like an American tail, but with a pickle.
This could go so like this could either be Seth Rogen's freaking
Jack and
God,
Jill.
well, yeah, it could be as Jack and Jill, yeah, but it could also be something like Stranger Than Fiction. That's what I'm wanting. Like if it's like a nice, really good, well put together, like comedy drama with a really good high concept premise, I think it could be good. But it could also be a Jack and Jill or a Cobbler. A Cobbler is my biggest fear, Dragon.
So it can end up being a squat cobbler.
pretty much.
No, but I gotta tell you, I got a good feeling about this. I like kind of the the whole kind of preserve. I like the generational side of it. I like the whole great grandfather grandson kind of idea. It's kind of neat, and kind of like basically, I think if he strikes it right. And again, the last thing I saw Seth Rogen, I really liked. I saw him in the Long Shot, which again I recommend to you. It's a really good movie. Mm-hmm. Now, bear in mind, I wonder if he's writing this or not. I don't know what the credits are on this. I know he's in it, and he was in the last thing I saw. He didn't write the last thing I saw. But the point being, this could be like a good kind of basically, we're looking at the American dream through someone who was like kind of part of the original American dream, judging it by today's standards. That's the pitch I get from the trailer.
Right.
It could be interesting.
Dragon is just the thing that I'm skeptical about is the dual Seth Rogens.
Well, Tiki, I've seen a number of things where you have like the actor playing his opposite. Again, I keep telling you the Paul Rudd show that was on Netflix. It's called that. Basically, it's kind of similar. Well, it's called Living with Yourself, where Paul Rudd kind of plays a clone of himself. And again, this isn't a clone thing, but still, it's like kind of a dramatic situation where, oh god, you have like your doppelganger you're kind of dealing with. So this is kind of a little akin to that.
I guess I'm just haunted by Jack and Jill, Dragon. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Well, again, he's not playing his sister, so that's a step up. I think they're in better shape. That's what I'm saying. Like, just trust me. Like, if you're really worried, we'll look at something like Living with Yourself, and then worry about it.
All right. Seth Rogen as Ralph could be good, or is Raph, I should say, not Ralph.
Honestly, I would imagine he could be Donnie or Mikey. Mikey would be my go-to, just giving you kind of the Seth Rogen. But again, giving him credit, I think he could be Donnie.
It could be, yeah. I could see him for either one, honestly. But all right. So with that, Dragon, let's move into the TV side of things. Oh boy. When I realize I don't have a banner for that, sorry. There we go.
Yes, so TV. Now, okay, let's see. So you and I, we both watched a little show towards the start of June. What was it?
Oh, 13 Reasons Why.
Season 4, the final season.
Why?
Thank goodness.
Why? Here's what I'll say about this season, Dragon, all right? It kept me more invested than season 3 did, because I feel like season 3 was so muddy, and the whole like, oh, we're gonna redeem Bryce now. I'm like, I'm not on board with that at all. I entirely don't agree with that. And then Ani was just, I'm sorry, like the actress didn't deserve to be, chased off of Twitter or anything, but she was a pretty bad character. So Dragon, 13 Reasons Why season 4, it's the worst and arguably most entertaining season of 13 Reasons Why for me. It's just entertaining because it's so, like, I can't remotely take it serious, but it's so batshit in what it tries to do. It throws so much at the wall. And honestly, there are a couple genuinely good moments. The school shooter episode, I think even people who hate this show, give that episode some credit for building suspense. Man, it doesn't amount to a hell of a lot. But again, Dragon, I go back to, like, I feel like this show is just like a fucking, like, it's a morphine drip of drama, Dragon. It really is. Because at the very start of the season, Dragon, we put the IV in, and it's like, oh, look, there's a fucking coffin, and someone else has died, and the preacher is, like, wagging her finger at it, and it just goes nowhere, and fucking Zach is just like a superhuman, man. That kid should just have healing abilities at this point, and Clay just gets away with so much ridiculous shit. Dylan Minnette is amazing, though. Dylan Minnette,
Minette.
in spite of the Dylan Minnette, in spite of the ridiculous writing, still pulls off an amazing performance somehow. But yeah, man. Overall, just Jesus, what a mess.
Yeah,
Monty's
overall,
ghost.
oh god! So don't get me started on the Ghost. I mean, look, 14 Reasons Why is a whole worst season by far. At this point, the franchise is being beaten to the ground. I mean, the first season essentially was the adaptation. 2, okay, I want to see where it goes, and then 3 is like, okay, it's a bumpy ending, but it could have been an ending.
3, it's like we have to resolve the cliffhanger, and then 3 also had like hey, it's a cool hook. But, you know, in Who Killed Bryce, I didn't know we were also going to humanize Bryce.
I mean, look, 3 at least had an ending. 3 had a satisfying ending towards at least it was until that ... and the whole season 4 is ... and they don't even care about the ...
The answer to Who Killed Bryce was satisfying.
Well, I mean, my point is like, the bad guy was slain and we moved on. I'm saying it was like, at least it was closure. That's all I'm saying. It was closure and like, okay, that guy killed him. So what? Anyway, but season 4, sloppy epilogue, gaping plot holes. I hate the frame. Gaping plot holes with the frame up where, again, they don't even know their own frame up because, again, with Monty, like, no, he went to jail for the thing that he did do. And he died. Okay, it's like it's not that complicated. They pinned the crime on him once he was dead, but again, still got killed for the crime he did do. That's all I'm saying.
I love it.
Anyway, so
oh god.
There's that, and they're trying to attempt the big hook for the season. They're trying to do a commentary on mental illness, which I think kind of falls flat. I mean, Minnette is doing the best he can. Minnette's great this season, acting wise, as he always is. I wish the season honestly, the season towards the very end is like the season I could have wrapped my mind around. It's basically closing the book season. We're graduating, we're doing the prom, and then the tragedy strikes. Like that, I could have wrapped my mind around for the season, but the season wasn't. The last 2 episodes, I think, is what the season should have been. Was not the case.
Also, I love how I just, like, as soon as Alex and fucking Winston got together, I knew instantly. It was like, oh, okay, Winston's just going to forgive Alex and just drop the whole thing at some point. Like, that whole thing just fizzled out like a wet fart.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But,
a colorful comparison, but sure.
Not great. All right. So, F is for Family Season 4, Dragon. I assume that this is a better Season 4.
Oh, my friend, this was a far better Season 4. Comparison, but no, seriously. F is for Family Season 4, probably the best season yet. This is a big payoff season. A lot of things have been building up. There's a gobs of payoff in this season, man. Let me give you give you a stupid line here. This Season 4, if I had to put on a poster and bear it down, it's all about that Banks, man. It's all about that Banks. Jonathan Banks plays the long hyped up Frank Murphy's father, who is Big Bill Murphy. And my God, Jonathan Banks, he was the best part of the season. He's so wonderful, and he gives a wonderful and layered performance. Emphasis on the layered, man. There are some great layers to him, because he plays such a monster in the flashbacks, and of course when you meet basically the reintroduction, he's the most sweet grandfatherly, as we know he can do very well. But then the layers come out as the show goes on, and it basically continue to develop the Frank Murphy character, who was traumatized by what his father did to him in his past. Of course, I'm always down for the Bill Burr stuff in F is for Family. That's why I watch the show. I love, kind of seeing Bill Burr's kind of life, just kind of like transferring this commentary on life. It's like a non-nostalgic look at the '70s, or at least like maybe a deeply flawed nostalgic look at the '70s, which is great. It's like seeing the non-politically correct times you live in the '70s, and just but again, unflatteringly, it wasn't great, but we kind of ignored that. They kept things I really didn't like by season 4 to a minimum. Like I hate the hillbilly kids. We the probably inbred hillbilly kids. We kept them to a bare minimum, so I appreciated that. Thumbs up. Again, the season as a whole, it's all about kind of trauma and forgiveness. It's Kevin Michael Richardson. He gets he plays a character Rosie on the show. Do you remember Rosie at all?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah, he has a. They do some. I don't want to spoil it to you because you really got to watch it to get to the season, buddy. It's season 4 is so good. Kevin Michael Richardson gets a really standout episode as Rosie. It's really good. So the point being, as Family season 4 again, I really hope the God it gets a 5th season because they need a 5th season after this one. It's again just all Jonathan Banks alone made the season, but then they continued to kind of lay the pipe they've been doing, and things have continued to improve with that show each season. So I'm still very much sold on F for Family.
You need to get caught up on it, Dragon, for sure.
You do. I mean, 3 was good too.
Like,
3 had Vince Vaughn in, and he was kind of the addition that season. And again, 4 blows it.
For me, it's just another one of those kind of like I need to be in the right headspace for it. But I mean, granted, this is nothing compared to something like the 5 Bloods, I imagine. So,
Tiki, you're on in the comments here. Claude's got a question for you.
Oh, okay, sorry. Let me see. What do you got, Claude? So Claude says, Crossing Swords. Have you guys managed to watch The Owl House yet? No, Claude, I have not. I'm sorry.
He's been a bad Tiki, Claude. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
I need to watch it. I know. You've been waiting. You've been waiting patiently, and I've let you down. I'm sorry. All right. But moving on.
Yes. Let's see. Okay. Moving on. We both watched
Disney Gallery
Mandalorian.
Yeah, and Dragon, we did a full podcast on this, so we don't really need to speak too much about it. But
just go on.
I genuinely think that this was just kind of rekindled my love of making of stuff when it comes to Star Wars, Dragon. I really do.
Absolutely. Basically, it's an excellent Disney Plus docuseries against Next Level Dinner for Five, which is Favreau's old show. Again, really some amazing reveals about the filmmaking, and of course, let's just say it once, Dave Filoni, he shines big time in this show, man. Dave Filoni, the legend, folks. My God.
Yeah. And like you said about the technology, it's freaking mind blowing. It really is. Just the actual craft that went into the show, both physically and digitally, is just on another level.
Yeah.
All right.
We talked ourselves like all throughout that show and the kind of podcast we did on it. But again, seriously, folks, I would highly recommend Disney Gallery Mandalorian. It's really good.
So, Dragon, what is The Last Dance?
Yes, so this was recommended by, I was kind of thinking about watching this, but then Joshua Thomas, our friend from Just Giggle It, he recommended this. And of course, you'll notice I saved the Last Dance for last in the grab bag for this coming Tuesday for this very reason. Because I finished The Last Dance, and now I get the joke.
Oh, nice.
The Last Dance is it's a show about the Chicago Bulls and basically Michael Jordan's basically this monolithic kind of story of a season for the Chicago Bulls. It's a basketball story, but you don't need to be an uber sports fan to kind of get into it. But by the same token, I'm going to critique it here. I think it's good, not great. It did need 10 episodes. I think it's a 10-episode series. It did not need to be 10 episodes. This is like a 30 for 30 documentary. The last 30 for 30 documentary I saw was OJ Made in America, which you know me. I love that thing. It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
This, not quite on the same level. Honestly, it's roughly the same runtime, technically, but it's 10 episodes. Well, I'm just saying, like 10 episodes versus like kind of like this giant, 5 movies put together. So, I mean, I guess roughly like 10 hours. I mean, it would kind of roughly be that anyway. It's a slow burn for me. It's no OJ by any stretch, but here's the thing. It picks up like halfway through. It picks up halfway through when we address the loss of Michael Jordan's father. That's where things get interesting. Because even knowing the little I know about Michael Jordan, just going to Space Jam even, his father was kind of important to him. His father was kind of his role model. As you saw in Space Jam, and it's kind of based in real life. Obviously not the whole movie, him playing basketball with Bugs Bunny, but in his youth, he kind of promised his father he would play baseball. After he played basketball, then he retired and go into baseball. That is based in real life, and again, that's a promise he made to his father. So that definitely, that correlates in the series. They cover Space Jam a little bit. There's It's I think the seeds and the through lines are nice in the show. You follow a couple basketball players. It's got a good story. Definitely could have been economized. You follow Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen. He's like the new blood that gets recruited. So it's not bad. It's just I wouldn't recommend as strongly as OJ Made in America. It's good.
Okay. All right, Claude says Harley Quinn season 2 finished. Dragon is well aware of that, Claude.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I made a mistake here. I should have added it to. I don't think we covered it yet. I'm just going to bring it up briefly now so we don't forget about it. Okay. So I didn't add it to the list because I don't know if I just forgot or maybe we talked. I guess I did wrap up the June. Okay, anyway, so in short, Harley Quinn season 2. Probably even better than the first season. Tiki continues. It's kind of going for a bit of a no man's land thing in season 2. I'll say that much. I don't give everything away, but it's really funny as it continues to be. Harley Quinn kind of starts with an objective and then turns into kind of the big Harley and Ivy season, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of focus on their friendship and kind of all that sort of stuff. Kite Man is definitely continues to be one of the most hilarious additions to the show. God, I love Kite Man. He's so great. Oh, but it's so good. Think again, you have to watch this show, man. Once you finish it, we got to do something on it, buddy. It's so good.
I know. I don't really need access anyways.
Okay, point being, season 2 was really good, Claude. Okay,
so the floor is lava. Yeah.
I wanted to watch this. How is it?
It's okay. I checked it out just because I kind of like the set design and the concept. And yeah, Dragon, the set design and the actual, the courses themselves, the obstacle courses, those are the reason to watch. What I will say is that this show gets really repetitive really fast, and it's the kind of gameplay where I don't know, it's like if you're into stuff like American Gladiators or something like that, those obstacle course things where they're climbing around, you'll kind of like this. It's a fun concept. It's mindless entertainment. I just watched it because, hey, look, it's something to watch that I can add to my memoirs. And, like I said, I think the key to any good game show is memorable set design and mixed with good gameplay. And this kind of has half of that, Dragon. The gameplay is fine, but it gets a little bit stale. There's not really a whole lot to do other than just traverse the room. And I don't know, Dragon, maybe it was mixed in with some bonus rounds or something, but as it stands, it's a good time waster, and it is impressive visually what they do with the rooms. So conceptually, it's fun. I don't really think it's anything that I would be dying to see a second season of, but I enjoyed it.
It's such a novel concept because in our lives we all pretend lava is the floor when we're a kid. It's just kind of such a cutesy concept.
No, it is a great concept, Dragon. It is a great concept. I'm just saying the whole show basically hinges on oh my God, are they going to make that jump or are they not going to make that jump?
Yeah, it can get old after a while. I can see that.
Yeah. It does get old. It's a great concept. I just wish there was a little bit more variety to the actual gameplay. I don't know how you make variety in a game called The Floor is Lava, but
well, if it were me, I would just change up the set each time to make it a little bit different, maybe. But
yeah,
you walk over a log or something.
All right, what's next, Dragon?
Okay, next for me would be I Know This Much Is True.
What is true, Dragon?
I'll tell you, this show is true to life. No, here's the thing. I Know This Much True. It's an HBO series. It was based on a book, and it was kind of a mini series. They did 6 episodes. And Tiki, I highly recommend this thing. I mean, very highly.
Okay.
This is one of the. I'm going to recommend 2 things really highly to you this month, and this is one of them. The other one's coming up. This adapts a book. This is the big Mark Ruffalo show. I don't know if you saw in the advertising for it. This is when Mark Ruffalo plays his twin brother. And yet another kind of actor playing himself thing, again, kind of with the Seth Rogen thing. Yeah, there's this running thing with Paul Rudd doing it on Netflix. The MCU actors kind of playing their doppelgangers. It's kind of a running thing. I'm digging it though. So far, so good. 2 slam dunks. Anyway,
you need to see Nicolas Cage in adaptation.
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm just saying you need to if you dig that sort of thing. That's probably the best one I can think of.
Might get to that. Okay, so point being, long story short, this is about a brother who is, so they have two brothers, Dominic and Thomas. Now, Thomas is a paranoid schizophrenic with special needs. And his brother, essentially Dominic, is shouldering the responsibility. He's playing two very different characters, as you can probably imagine from that description. The idea is, I won't spoil it for you, but essentially Thomas lands himself in some really hot water, and it's up to his brother going to the ends of the earth, defending his brother and really just trying to kind of get him out of Dodge, as it were. And this show, Tiki, again, if you're looking for a mood thing, you got to get in the right headspace for this.
Happy Brothers movie.
Yeah, this is not a Happy Brothers series. This is not. This is a
Happy Brothers movie, Dragon.
Oh, Safety. Sorry, I thought you said like a. Anyway. Yeah, this is. So basically, we see basically as he's trying to go to the end of the earth for his brother, he's reflecting kind of the trouble and sad life that the two of them have shared throughout, and that's kind of what the episodes kind of do, and they kind of mix it up a little bit, especially towards like the end, like episodes 5 and 6. 5 is like there's kind of a big flashbacky sort of paralleled episodes, really interesting. The performances and the storytelling are phenomenal. It's really great. Rosie O'Donnell. She has a supporting role, and
really,
I never thought I'd say this. Rosie O'Donnell is so good in this show.
Wow,
I mean, she kills. She plays the social worker who basically is trying to help Dominic kind of get his brother out of Dodge and kind of like be there for his brother while he can't be. So basically, she's kind of overseeing his brother, and she's she's amazing in this thing for the episodes that she's in. It's 6
now,
episodes.
Why do I want to see Rosie O'Donnell be cast in a Quentin Tarantino movie now, Dragon? I could see Quentin Tarantino using her really well.
So the point being, this is a dark tragedy. It's very real world and absolutely worth checking out, Tiki.
Let me ask you one thing, Dragon. Let me ask you one thing.
What do you got?
So in terms of it being a mood piece, do you think it would help if I just looked up everything that happened just so I'm prepared for it and then watched it?
Well, I mean, it might take kind of some of the shock factor out of it if you do that, though.
I hear you, but I mean, I did that with 13 Reasons Why season 1.
Well, I mean, I guess if you want to, maybe
why was still shocking.
Well, I mean, I guess, but maybe what you want to do is maybe look up the book, but not the show. So you have maybe do that. If you're gonna do that, at least like go in like a little bit of surprise. Maybe look up the book, like a synopsis of the book, and then go into the show. If you want to go into it like a little bit of a guide point, because it doesn't go as dark as the book. I mean, let me put it this way: it softens a few things from the book, but essentially, it's a very faithful adaptation. Just it doesn't end quite the same.
And obviously, like a brother story, mental illness.
That's what I'm saying. And
yeah, those are things that hit close to home, Dragon.
That's what I'm saying to you. This is a very.
So I can't guarantee you that I'm going to get around to it this month, buddy.
Sure, but trust me, man. This thing is excellent television. It's so good.
All right. So, Dragon, I'm going to loop back around to what I should talk about. The Legend of Korra. Books 1 and 2.
Yeah, double dose.
Yeah. Okay, so book 1. We'll start there. And also, just a warning, folks. I might be... I'm going to be as vague as I can, but I might get into some spoilery stuff here, so just...
Well, we kind of spoiled 13 Reasons Why season 4, so...
But, yeah, well, no one cares about 13 Reasons Why season 4, seriously. But, so book 1 of Legend of Korra, it was a slow start. I wasn't a huge fan of of all the pro bending stuff that we got right off the top, but just because I'm not a sports guy. And so that was a little bit slow for me. But once we got into the Amon stuff, and once we got into the, the equalists and everything like that, oh, Dragon, I was riveted. Oh, man. And Dragon, I'm just going to say this. Tarlok, is that his name?
You mean the brother, right? Tarlok.
Yes. That guy is one of the best red herrings I have ever seen, Dragon, because I was absolutely convinced that he was Amon.
Yeah. There's an excellent reveal with Tarlok before we kind of go deep with certain other reveals, but it's a great moment too, where he's kind of facing off against Korra. I'll say that much.
And of course, the blood bending was just Dragon. The blood bending in this series, in this season, is like, I feel like it's even more horrifying than in the Puppet Master episode. I really do, just because you see it like even more. Oh God. Uh, a couple things that I think that obviously Dragon. I honestly don't find Milo as annoying as most people do, mostly because he doesn't have a ton of screen time. So I just he's just someone where when he pops up, it's like okay, just phase it out. It's not for me. It's a kid show. This is Nickelodeon after all. But J.K. Simmons and Stinson, I'm going to have things to say about him in season 2, but in season 1, I loved him. Loved him. Awesome character. Awesome character. Oh, my God. Yeah. Great. Great stuff. Korra, I like Korra a lot more than I thought I would. I really like that she's a lot more headstrong and bullish than Aang. It's a great contrast there. Dragon, let's talk about Team Avatar, because this is where the show, I feel like it grabs me it grabs me slightly more in book 2, but not by much. I will say, Dragon, out of Team Avatar so far, Bolin has stolen my heart.
Yeah, you got a lot of love for Bolin, I take it.
yeah. Out of the three, Bolin is definitely my fave. Mako's cool. I think Mako. Sorry, I think Mako could go either way going forward. Asami, I'm still not feeling 2 seasons in, Dragon. I gotta say.
I think Asami's gonna get better for you.
Okay.
I mean, I hope for your. I would hope so. But I mean, I think at the very least she perked up towards the end of the first season. The whole thing with her father. That was pretty good.
That was good. Let's move on to book 2 though.
Book 2.
Book one overall just very, very great. Like Amon is seriously like up there with Zola as one of my favorite Avatar villains. Seriously, I love that.
No, Amon is so great, isn't he? Oh God, he's such a genius.
It was a wild ride that they set us on with all that. So book 2 comes out, Dragon. Oh boy. Dragon, I gotta say, this is like the opposite of what happened with book 1 for me, all right? Because I love the setup for this season. I was really digging it. I was like, oh man, you've got this almost kind of like Mufasa Scar dynamic going on with the 2 brothers. You've got a civil war with the water tribes. That's cool. We're diving way more into water tribe culture than we ever have before. That's awesome. And then the last 4 episodes happened.
Yeah, you're not crazy about the big fight at the end, are you?
It's just Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, I hear you. You're not wrong.
Deus Ex Machina.
This is everyone pretty much. I mean, maybe not everybody. A large.
I was stoked for this season, Dragon, and honestly, after I got to the Avatar, the first Avatar episode, I was like, why does everyone hate this season? I don't get it. This is great stuff. However, one thing I'm sure you knew I was going to love that I'm sure a lot of people don't love, the Bolin subplot.
I gotta guess this. How do you feel about Varric? Man, how do you feel about Varric?
Oh, he's great. He's wonderful.
Yes, and the wonderful John. Every time I've hyped up John Michael Higgins too, I'm thinking of Varric. Man, Varric is the crowning achievement of John Michael Higgins' character.
Although I feel like there wasn't a ton of payoff for him. I feel like there was a little, and that's the thing with pretty much a lot of this. There's not really. I don't know. I will say though. Opening. That ending. I won't say what it is just for spoilers, but the ending of book 2 has me very curious about where it will go from here. It's a big game changer for the Avatar universe.
I can say I think you're going to like book 3. I can say that much.
I also really dug the characters that were introduced this season. Boomy is great. Boomy kind of has a Jeff Fahey vibe for me, and that's nothing but good. Kaya, she's also great. I love the sibling dynamics and tension with Tenzin. Tenzin's story, I feel, gets a little muddled in the end of the season. But overall, I don't think Tenzin's storyline is as beat by beat perfect as it was in the first season. And of course, there's some ridiculous stuff with the vacation. But overall, book 2, I don't hate it by any means. I'm still really glad I watched it. It still kept me engaged. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of how it ended, man. It was just a lot to take in.
And again, Tiki, that's kind of universally. A lot of people are, out of all the Korra seasons, too, is kind of like, it's kind of the Iron Man, too. And there are good things in it, but, you know.
Can we talk about how awesome that fight scene is where Bolin is up against the screen?
And that's, I'm sure that's where you love the pro bending, just the arena at least. You know, it's like, you know, kind of the.
Well, yeah, I love the propaganda stuff, Dragon. I love the whole, you know, kind of the Nanook of the North kind of parody.
Yeah, like absolutely. I get little First Avenger-esque, you know.
And then I love the payoff. I love the payoff when his love interest screams like, "Ah, look out, Bolin!" And honestly, Dragon, I have no idea how the fan base feels about this, but I really loved his arc with the Water Tribe girl.
Water. Wait, do you mean the
daughter of the villain?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I think of them as the twins before it's just the one girl. But
yeah,
yes,
the twins.
The
sorry, twins. Yes.
Oh,
that's
sure
some great stuff. Overall, honestly, Dragon, I gotta say, Bolin kind of stole this whole season. He really did. Like, all the stuff that kept me engaged this season was through Bolin. Also, what happened to Lin? I really hope that Lin has more to do in book 3.
Oh, my friend, you have no idea. Oh,
okay, boy, that's good. That's good to know, because Lin really wasn't very present in book 2 at all.
I know she's not present in 2, but they're going to make up for it in 3. Okay, they're going to make up for it in 3.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Oh, and also always a pleasure to see Uncle Iroh again.
Yes. Actually, let me redact. That's like it's been a while. It's either 3 or 4 when they're going to make up for Lin. I don't know if it's book 3 or it's been a while. I was thinking 3 because 3 is overall an excellent season. I think they introduced the character in the. Wait, no, I'm sure of it now. It is 3. So we're all good. We're all good. 3.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay, what's next on your end, Dragon?
All right, this one's going to be quick. This is not like a happy show per se. It's Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich.
Oh boy, yeah, no, not a healthy show at all.
So this is a Netflix kind of true crime little miniseries, you know, kind of as they tend to do. Of course, I'm not usually a big fan of those. This one, bit of a letdown. It's no big. Remember that Bikram documentary they did? Like there was the movie though. Basically, that is kind of the better version of what this should have been. But
yeah,
again,
that documentary was compelling for sure.
It was compelling, and again, I think the difference is maybe they should have made this like Bikram, and that this was like a mini series where it probably should have been like a full movie where they really didn't have.
Yeah, Dragon. That's the thing, man. I feel like with these Netflix stuff, with this Netflix true crime stuff, I feel like it drags out. I wish more of them were documentaries instead.
If they're only, I think the rule of thumb should be if they're only going to be like 4 to maybe 5 the max. I mean, they should probably splice it together into a movie, if not maybe a long movie. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be if it's going to be
maybe a 2-parter.
Sure, which they've done before. Sometimes they do. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They shouldn't make them like 4 episodes and that's it. Because here's the thing. This is the story's kind of split into 2 elements. You have the crime, which is basically kind of the victim's testimony about all the ways, Jeffrey Epstein, essentially he kind of trafficked and kind of, I don't know if grooming is quite the right word, but, he basically trafficked in young women. He did terrible things. So he did that. So there's the crime where you have the accounts of the victims and the survivors of that. And then you have like the feds crafting a case against him. That's what I'm interested in, them building a case against him. Because my favorite thing of the reason the thing I got most out of it was they showed the interview tapes where he's sitting down for an interview and they're trying to crack him. I thought that was great. And I wish there was more about that. Because there's like a bit where they're trying to play to his ego and they're trying to take him down by just kind of trying to snuff him out there and basically trying to kind of bait him. I thought that was interesting. And I think what they were going for is okay, we're seeing the events that kind of feed into the investigation, but it didn't quite go full force. So then that kind of disappointed. So basically, it's just kind of like a depressing crime thing without much ceremony. It's basically like, hey, depressing crimes, and just like, and we got him, and then he, in prison. So,
yeah,
just not much to it. I wouldn't recommend it. So,
all right, okay, let's see. Oh yes, so Dragon, I watched
Tiki. You got some explaining to do.
Well, God, Jesus Christ, this show has some explaining to do because that line is not in there.
Darn it.
It's not. It's not,
Does
Dragon.
But he just, let me get this right, but he does say, like, splain, though, right?
Yeah, he says splain, but nowhere does he say, Lucy, you've got some splaining to do. It's wrong. It's wrong. Anyways, folks, I watched the entire series of I Love Lucy because I needed some comfort food in my life. I mean, oh boy. Folks, I've probably seen like a good 90% of these episodes, but I've never sat down and watched them all in one chunk. What I will say about I Love Lucy is that I respect the ever-living hell out of it.
As you should.
I mean, oh my God, like Andy Griffith, Dragon. Andy Griffith is the other kind of like classic sitcom that I go to for comfort food. And Andy Griffith is great. The main reason I go to Andy Griffith is Don Knotts, and Don Knotts absolutely kills it every time on that show, no question. But I Love Lucy was progressive in a way that Andy Griffith simply wasn't. I mean, I Love Lucy, of course, we had a Cuban character in Ricky Ricardo. Ricky Ricardo was just a very, very multi-layered, multifaceted husband character. You know, he was very ambitious, very career-driven, but also very loving to his wife at the same time, and patient. And, you know, the whole joke of Ricky was that, you know, like Lucy was kind of this over-the-top whirlwind, and Ricky kind of had to ground her. You know, then of course you have stuff coming in like The Baby. I will say, Dragon, pre-Little Ricky is definitely the pure I Love Lucy. I mean,
that's the bread show right there.
Yeah, that's obviously clear. Like but however, that being said, there's still a number of classic episodes that have Little Ricky in them. Of course, the Superman one probably being like one of the main memorable ones.
Yeah, that's a great one.
She's doing everything just for him. So that's like one of the better Little Ricky episodes. And Dragon, then in the later seasons, they just start traveling everywhere, and it becomes a really disappointed show. And I don't like those seasons at all, to tell you the truth. I mean, they're fun in a weird kind of way, and just kind of like, oh man, it's like still the Mertzes and the Ricardos, but like it lacks the charm of the simple setup, you know, of the simple like the apartment setup with them moving all around. But just overall, man, I mean, just like those first two seasons, that's all I'll say, dude. Those first two seasons, every episode is a banger. I mean, just, oh my God. Like, I mean, I don't have to, like, this is like just the most redundant thing in the world to say, but just Jesus Christ, Lucille Ball is just a comedic effing genius, if there ever was one, Dragon. She belongs on a comedy Mount Rushmore, Dragon.
She does.
Oh man. And I also really want to see a legitimate Lucy biopic one day. It was in the works for a while. I don't know whatever happened.
Yeah, they were gonna get. I think they were gonna. It was Cate Blanchett was supposed to.
Yeah, it was Cate Blanchett. Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, overall, I Love Lucy. Just excellent comfort food, and I feel like it pushed a lot of barriers really early on in television that were really important. Okay. Oh, also, Claude Coringa brings up Clone High and Beavis and Butthead are returning. Pretty sure Daria spinoff is also in the works. Beavis and Butthead, I'm not excited about Claude Coringa, just because they try and reboot Beavis and Butthead every 10 years or so, and it never really works.
Do we really need more Beavis and Butthead, really, at the end of the day? Do we?
I think Beavis and Butthead was a product of its time, and I say that in the most loving way possible. It exists in the 90s and in the music video generation. What I would like to see, Dragon, I would like to see Beavis and Butthead have a YouTube channel.
I guess I could buy that.
I would like that a lot more than just like the upteenth Beavis and Butthead reboot. I think that'd be a lot more interesting. Because of course Beavis and Butthead have always basically been reactors anyways.
True.
So Clone High, Dragon, Jesus Christ, you need to get on Clone High. Do it. No, I drank. I'm not even. It's Lord and Miller goodness, man. The hype is real.
Really, it's a Lord Miller show.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yes, absolutely. It's a Lord Miller show. It's what gave Lord and Miller their foot in the door.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you need to get on it, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all the episodes are pretty readily available on YouTube.
All right. Also, just want to get in there too. I love Fred Mertz. Just wanted to say that before we move on.
You know, Fred Mertz, he's the one element of the show that's a little bit problematic just because of the actor in real life, Dragon, the actor in real life.
Yeah, I know.
A total asshole, just a total asshole.
But he was good though, man.
He was great. He was great. On camera.
Yes.
On camera, it's wonderful, and it worked so well. I'm just saying, I'm trying to hype up I Love Lucy's progressive elements, Dragon.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Fred Mertz, he wasn't one of the progressive elements of that show.
Yeah. All right.
But, all right. Anyways.
Okay. And my stuff out strongly here with something I really highly recommend as well, along with I Know This Much Is True. Okay, you ready for this?
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Defending Jacob.
Okay, yeah, is this defending Jacob Gulliver or defending Jacob Weil?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like Kramer versus Kramer. It's like both Jacobs. They're kind of. It's like, no. Okay, look, no, so again, so I was finally able to watch it. I've been wanting to watch this for a while. Again, it's through Apple Plus or whatever they're calling it.
Oh God, Apple. Jesus Christ!
So again, I think it's. I don't want to get into a whole rant about Apple. The point being, I think it's ridiculous. Like Apple isn't available, like more available to the public. If you wanted to, I wanted to show my family this, I couldn't because like the point being, it won't come through Xfinity. You can't. You need a special TV. The point being, it's impossible. So Apple should be ashamed themselves for the. See, Apple's making amazing content right now, but their distribution sucks. Anyway, here's the thing. So defending Jacob, I couldn't resist, man. I had to find some way, like some crack in the system, I could find this thing. And so, defending Jacob is a book that they adapted into an 8-episode miniseries. And this, of course, is the one that stars Chris Evans and Jaden Martell, and both of them were in Knives Out. They were both part of the Thrombey family in Knives Out. He was Jaden Martell was Michael Shannon's son, the creepy kid in the bathroom. Sure. Of course, Chris Evans speaks for himself. So basically, this is they play the Barber family. You have Evans. Evans is Andy Barber, and his son Jacob Barber. So the kid is Jacob. And he's an ADA with a very socially ambiguous son, who basically is kind of like he's definitely kind of a social outcast, and there's kind of like a question of like is there something wrong with him, because his son is like socially he's kind of he doesn't hit the social cues well, which makes him essentially the prime suspect in the murdering of a classmate. So, like, Jacob's classmate is murdered, and basically he's the prime suspect. And of course, the father is an ADA, who basically he can't be on the case anymore. But basically, the Barber family gets caught up in this whirlwind, where basically the world gets turned upside down as like their son very publicly becomes suspect numero uno. And you can imagine, like, he's never been on the other side of going after people like this. So now he's really. Chris Evans is doing such an excellent job in this show, man. My God, he's so magnetic in this show. Basically, as a father who's like being put through the ring, like, what would you go through for your son? That sort of thing. The mother, Lori, plays the mother. And basically, the best way I could describe like the mother character in this, it's kind of like imagine Skylar White with a payoff. Like, what if Skylar White was done more?
Skylar White had a payoff.
What if Skylar White had a more sympathetic arc and like more of a payoff? Like basically, okay, like she's going through something you can a little bit, at least in this show, you can empathize a little bit more with. Okay. Skylar's, like Lori in this case,
I think you're being a little too harsh on Skylar White, but
I mean, I'm just trying to bolster. Like, I know there's more layers to Skylar. She improves definitely when the car wash comes in the fray, and definitely by season 5. All right, so point being, Skylar does have a payoff, but she has a really bad moments in Breaking Bad, let's say, again, season 2 being the big flagpole in that one. My point is, what if you took a character who, worst case, could be Skylar at her worst, but what if you took that and basically it's someone who isn't an ADA, someone who isn't like invested, doesn't know the law and everything, and she's starting to like question like if her son's innocent or not as the show goes on. So the show
I
has a
could
lot.
totally see how that would be Skylar-esque if they don't do it well. Yeah.
That's
Okay,
what
I
I'm
get your
saying. She kind of
point.
walks that line where it could be kind of Skylar or worse, but there's definitely there's a woman who's losing her mind and losing her world around her. But again, it's more sympathetic. You're with her every
Okay.
step of the way in the process. So there's a great guest star. I do not want to spoil it for you, Tiki, unless you maybe after
That's a
there's
tease.
and Tiki, trust me, after you're gonna love this guest star.
Oh man,
Who has
what
a
a
small
tease.
he has a small yet very, very pivotal role in the series.
Okay.
So again, Evans is magnetic. The kid's great too. I've always loved this kid. I've loved him ever since I saw him in Saint Vincent with Bill Murray. This kid's a good actor. He's the kid from It. Remember, he was the one with the brother in It, Georgie's brother.
Yes.
That same kid.
Okay.
Again, there's some gobsmacking twists and turns towards the end, especially. It's like not counting Better Call Saul. This is 2020's best, my friend. This is the best I've seen.
Oh wow,
it's so good.
high praise. Okay, just to address Claude's 2 points here, have you guys seen the new Adventure Time special? Claude, I have not. I've seen the first couple seasons of Adventure Time, but I'm someone who kind of fell off of it the more complicated it got. So I apologize there. I don't really plan on checking it out. Unless, Claude, unless you think the new special, you don't really need to have context for the whole series, in which case I'd be willing to check it out. Let me know. Also, he said he's glad we're getting 2 more seasons of Solar Opposites. And I will agree. Yeah, Solar Opposites, I feel like, is a show where I don't necessarily feel like it reached its full potential in season 1, but it definitely did have a lot of potential, specifically in the Wall episode. We all love the Wall. So, all right.
All right.
So, Dragon, it's time to move on to the, oh boy, the movies of June 2020. Yeah. Ooh. Oh boy. The Five Bloods is in there at least.
All right, let's start off with My Spy.
Okay, I mean, look. This was a fun time waster, all right? This was actually, Dragon, you kind of directed my attention to this right when I needed something like this. I was like, I had a really bad day at work, and I think I even canceled the podcast or something just because of that. I was just really tired. It wasn't even a bad day at work. It was just a physically exhausting day. And you were like, all right, Tiki, well, look, if you want some Kristen Schaal action, go check out My Spy. And it was a nice surprise, Dragon, because I knew this movie was coming out, but I didn't know that I'd be able to stream it on Prime. I assumed it'd be one of those $20 things. We'll talk about a $20 thing later. But this is perfectly harmless, right? Like I don't think it's nowhere in the same league of bad as something like that stupid firefighter movie that came out last year or anything like that. And I don't even think it's as bad as something like the oh God, what's that? Jesus, I'm getting old, Dragon. What's the movie with Dwayne Johnson that has a similar premise to this?
Are you thinking of The Game Plan?
Yes, I'm thinking of The Game Plan, yes.
Yeah.
This is much better than The Game Plan. This is actually one of the more solid kind of like kid teams up with badass super spy movies that I've seen. It's not great. It's not Gates, as you would say, but Batista's charming as hell, as he always is.
Yeah, here's the thing. I was so this movie. I don't know if you remember. It kept getting pushed back until ultimately ended up on
I do remember this
because it was supposed to come out in theaters. I remember the trailer for this thing. Like then, hey, where is it? And of course, it finally got pushed back, and of course, it got pushed back again to the point where now it couldn't come out in theaters. To eventually, I knew it got bought by Amazon, but I didn't know if it was going to be. I thought it was the $20 thing as well. I was like completely shocked. Like, oh boy, look at that! I wanted to watch that
movie that you can actually just watch.
Yeah, I was going to use like a gift card or something to see that movie, but I don't have to anymore. It's on Amazon Prime.
Nice.
So anyway, this thing I call this enjoyable and harmless comedy. With
absolutely. It's like Dragon. Let me just say, with this fucking quarantine nonsense going on, I have gained such a better appreciation for just for these types of movies in general, because back in the day, back in the before times, as we all call it, I would be like, when a movie like this would come out, I'd complain, Dragon. I'd be, this is nonsense. This is filler content for the theater. I want something with more substance. Dragon, now just anything coming out. I just want something.
Yeah, you're
and I
slobberingly
appreciate this
grateful.
so much more. I appreciate this so much more now.
Yeah, so this actually had like the perfect director for it here. This Peter Siegel did this movie. Now Peter Siegel, this guy, he's kind of done like movies that, again, they're not exactly like the A movies, but they are like beloved movies. They're kind of like they're well enjoyed movies. That's what I'm saying. He's in like right the perfect space on the line.
That sounds familiar. What else else has he done?
Okay, so he's the big thing, the most famous thing he's done, Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy.
Oh God! Oh
now,
yeah! Oh my God!
Now here's
classic.
the thing you know him from. Okay, here's the thing you know him from.
Well, I know him from Tommy Boy.
Well,
Jesus.
I know this one.
Don't you dare say that I don't know Tommy Boy.
I know you know Tommy Boy, but this one's more. This was the big one you really liked, though.
Okay.
50 First Dates.
What? I don't really like 50 First Dates. I mean, 50 First Dates is okay. I don't think it's. Like
oh wait, no, ever. Sorry, I'm thinking of the other Hawaiian thing. Sorry about that. Anyway,
what are you thinking of? What are you thinking of?
You know what I'm thinking of.
Are you thinking of The Descendants?
No, not that. Wait, what?
What are you thinking of then? I'm confused.
For a moment, I was thinking of Punch Drunk Love, but.
Punch! Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for a moment because of the whole Hawaiian thing, but I thought maybe you'd also have a fondness for 50 First Dates. Anyway, the point being, we have Tommy Boy, we got 50 First Dates, they had the third Naked Gun movie. Then he's done movies like Grudge Match and Anger Management, which again, this is what I'm talking about. Like right on the line. If you have some good ones like Tommy Boy or Naked Gun or 50 First Dates, on the flip side, you have kind of like it's like they're harmless. Like Grudge Match. You have John Bernthal performance in Anger Management. Nicholson, where can you go wrong?
Joe somebody.
Sure. So that's what I'm saying. Like the movie was not perfect, but basically his movies sometimes range from not. He also did the Night Professor sequel. So they're not perfect, but they're crowd pleasers. That's kind of the that's what I'm saying. Well,
the Night Professor sequel is like a great example of like a very not perfect movie that is a crowd pleaser.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of the guy's signature. If they're not perfect, they're crowd pleasers or they're Tommy Boy. That's kind of what you get with this guy. There could be like an iconic comedy classic or just like, it's a crowd pleaser. So this way better than Stuber because with the last Dave Bautista movie I got burned severely with Stuber.
Oh God! Oh Stuber! Jesus! Oh man!
And again, remember this: the guy who did Stuber did Coffee and Kareem.
Oh man!
I got burned twice by that guy. I'm still mad. Anyway, so
be mad at that guy, not the Safdie brothers.
Anyway, I'm gonna.
The Safdie brothers try.
I got room for multiple hatreds in my heart. I'm good.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so seriously, this movie, it's cute and likable. Batista befriending little Sophie. It's adorable. I don't know. It's kind of nice about it.
I mean, what else do you need to say? Really, it's like it's pretty straight.
Honestly, it's kind of like did you get a kind of a remake of Kindergarten Cop, but without the interesting villains? Did you get any of that vibe with this?
Not particularly, just because it doesn't really have a school setting in it.
Well, I mean, sure, but I'm just saying, like, kind of your big kind of government affiliated guy.
I mean, I see what you're saying, though. I see what you're saying. Like I said, I got more of a game plan vibe. I mean, I could see that as well. Obviously, big giant, former wrestler, little girl. I get it. I get the right.
Of course. So, what did you think of Kirsten Shaw? She's
fun. I mean, she's not in the movie very long, but she's she's fun every time she pops up. I'm never gonna not like Kirsten Shaw.
I was like, the thing is just remarkably, it's kind of remarkably pleasant. The only complaint I have with it is it's just the main villain plot. The whole evil uncle thing is just kind of stupid. Just like there's not much there. That's take that out of the movie. I think I'd enjoy it more. But
it's almost as if they took notes from The Legend of Korra season 2. Evil uncle being stupid.
Yeah. Anyway, so the point being, like, overall, you had fun with it, right? It's kind of cute.
Sure.
All right.
Also, Dragon, a note I have to bring up with Korra season 2 because I forgot to. Am I the only one who thinks that Korra's dad totally should have died at the end of that one episode?
I was thinking something similar when I watched it for the first time as well.
It would have added so much more weight to that season and to that villain.
Tiki, the thing you got to remember is Nickelodeon did meddle with Korra. That's the difference between Avatar and Korra. Nickelodeon meddled. I don't know if they meddled with the death, but they meddled.
Yeah, Claude, I'm with you. I really want Kristen Shaw to be a guest star in DuckTales. I still think she'd make a good Gosling, but I'm pretty sure Gosling's already been cast. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so moving on. Oh boy, what do we got now in the pile of? Oh, I'm not gonna call the Five Bloods a pile of suck. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna stop myself. All right, so Dragon, like I said, I really like. If this was maybe a shorter movie, I would have gotten around to it, but I just wasn't in a headspace for a 2.5 hour movie about Vietnam. But I'm sure it's great because Spike Lee is one of those filmmakers where when he's trying, aka pretty much anything besides Old Boy, he really does deliver, and Black Klansman was one of my favorite movies of the year that came out. So I eventually do really want to get around to this. I will admit the premise of it doesn't entirely leap off the screen the same way Black Klansman does. So maybe that's why I'm not overly anxious to get to it.
All right, so you want to hear how it was?
Yep.
Okay, so this again, the Five Bloods just continues to prove that Spike Lee still got it, man. He still got it. Where this is the best way I could summarize the movie. It's kind of it's set in modern day Vietnam. It's kind of Treasure of the Sierra Madre set in modern day Vietnam. Which, of course, I love Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Great film classic, John Huston classic. Gotta love it. And essentially, you have a group of black Vietnam vets who kind of reunite. And of course, back in the day, it was very controversial. They kind of they had the black recruited kind of people. You had black people recruited into the Vietnam War. And the movie opens with the very famous Muhammad Ali interview, where he's saying, like, "Are you going to go over to Vietnam?" Like, no, they don't hate. They didn't do anything to me. Why should I go over there? Big thing. There's a lot of black history referenced throughout the piece, and I think a lot better than Spike Lee's kind of reference in some of his other work. I think it's a little more natural. There's like a stylistic thing. The way he works in the movie is kind of nice. Anyway, so you have all these vets who, by the way, are all named after Temptations, which I thought was awesome because I love the Temptations. So they all return for two things. They return for two reasons. One, to find the remains of their leader, who was kind of the young blood leader, hence the whole young blood, the Five Bloods of it all. And they're all young bloods, and their lead young blood was Chadwick Boseman, who was Stormin' Norman. So they're trying to find his body. He was like the fallen comrade of the bunch. And also gold. They buried gold. The gold was intended to pay kind of the Vietnamese that helped fight the Viet Cong. It was like the American government was going to pay them for thanking, as like, okay, guys, you're going to work with our American troops. We're going to give you this gold in exchange, but they never got the gold because our black veterans decided they were going to bury it and come back for it after the Vietnam War if they survived. So that's the premise. That's why they're in modern day Vietnam, and it's kind of like one part of the movie is like it starts off like an old friends reunion movie, and then they reflect, they bond amidst the treasure hunt. Then things go south. Things go sideways, leads to a lot of chaos. I won't tell you what happens. Just on the whole, movie's great. It works in things really well. Again, with the black history of it all, which is really cool. There's some really cool. There's a lot of cool practical stuff in it too. Now here's the thing though. Spike Lee, I think he works in I think the political stuff is worked in a little bit more naturally here because my pet peeve with Spike Lee is with Black Klansman. At the end of Black Klansman, like the movie's great, and at the very end, he gets really, really on the nose political. And he only does it for a moment in this movie. It's like one moment towards the end, but not as like it doesn't like it's not like Black Klansman where literally you just edit that ending out and it would be completely fine. So what bothers me is that it's not that Spike Lee's like saying something political, it's the fact of like he spoon feeds it to you. Like, Spike, you made an excellent movie that conveyed your point. Why are you spelling it out this harshly? That's
yeah.
It just feels you feel a little insulted. Like Black Klansman's like, God, all this and now it's like just kind of relates to the movie, but again, you kind of feel the themes. And again, this movie, similar thing. The movie makes its case and makes the point very well. And then there's like a little moment towards the end where like, spell it out. And then, okay, well, Spike, darn it, man. Like, you can't go a movie now without the political spy. God love Spike. Seriously, he made a good movie, though. Definitely check it out. It's good stuff.
All right. Also, Dragon, Stephanie Beatrice is voicing Gosling from What Claude Knows. You should be excited
great.
about that.
I love her. She's wonderful. That's great news.
Okay. So, Dragon, Jesus Christ, I paid $20 for the King of Staten Island, and once again, this whole Take a deep breath. Dragon, this whole $20 for streaming movies thing is killing me, man. It really is. It really is. I went into King of Staten Island interested in it because I've actually followed this guy behind the scenes a lot.
Pete Holmes?
Yes, exactly. I've I've kind of, because he struggles a lot with mental illness, and I actually really really sympathize with him.
Yeah, this is kind of based on his real life, isn't it?
Yeah. Dragon, the movie just doesn't do a good job of portraying it, man. And just with Judd Apatow, man, I've given Judd Apatow so many chances. He made a couple really great movies with 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up, but the dude is not. I am convinced after this movie, Dragon, I am convinced that Judd Apatow is not going to make anything that's even in the realm of those two movies. Those two movies were like the two-hit wonder of Judd Apatow's career, and nothing's going to come close to touching that afterwards. I'm sorry to be cynical, but King of Staten Island, man, it's everything wrong with a Judd Apatow movie for me. It's long, it's boring, it's preachy as fuck.
But how is Bill Burr?
Bill Burr's great. He's Bill Burr. Don't get me wrong. I love Bill Burr. That's the main reason I saw it. He's not in a ton of it. I mean, he's in enough of it for it to be like satisfying.
Yeah,
but not
he's a fireman with a mustache, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. And it is nice to see Bill Burr with a big handlebar mustache.
Yeah.
That is rather weird. But man, the whole movie is just really repetitive of just hey, you got to get your act together. You got to move out of your mom's house, and and he's just no, man, I'm an artist. I'm a visionary, and you can't box me in. It's just oh, Jesus. It's super pretentious. It's super preachy. It doesn't illustrate mental illness well at all for me personally. Dragon, I really did like it. And this kind of put Judd Apatow sort of officially on my shit list, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, he's your Safdie brother, isn't he?
Kind of. I mean, I will say, Dragon, after this movie, much like Uncut Gems and you, they have to do I can't imagine another Judd Apatow project that would have me actually going out and seeing it, man. I really, because if he couldn't do it with funny people, which was a legitimately interesting premise that once again got bogged down by being entirely too long.
Yeah, it's no 50-50.
I don't get what Judd Apatow's obsession with making these 2.5-hour epic comedies are, but I don't know, man. He was hard to get through. The only reason I even got through it was because I paid for it, Dragon.
Okay.
All right, next up. I didn't have the stomach for this one.
Yeah, quitter. Okay.
Dragon, does this have any sort of redeeming value in terms of the so bad it's good? Because I heard it doesn't.
You're right, it doesn't.
We're talking Artemis Fowl here, people.
Yeah, Artemis Fowl. So Artemis Fowl, it's as bad as you heard, folks.
So it's not even like a batshit crazy, holy shit, you have to watch it to see how bad it is.
Let me put it this way: there's one element that is it's kind of a so bad it's good. It's like a crazy.
Ooh, can I guess? Can I guess? Is it Josh Gad?
Yes, for a thing that his character does.
I knew it.
Okay, let me put it this way. Okay, I will say my favorite part of the movie is Josh Gad, and he does a thing in the movie. This isn't. I'm not quite crazy about the thing, but this is a thing you would love. He does something kind of crazy in the movie, effect-wise, that you probably want to watch a clip of it. I'll say that.
Yeah,
anyway, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. Okay, so. So here's the thing. I went into this. I saw the trailers for this. Originally, this was supposed to be out in theaters, and it kind of found its way on the Disney Plus.
It bounced around a lot, Dragon. This movie was in release schedule. This movie was almost as bad as Dark Phoenix in terms of release schedules. Or, I'm sorry, not Dark Phoenix, the one that actually hasn't come out yet. New Mutants. Yeah.
All right, so...
Which I'm convinced one day we're going to just open Disney Plus and New Mutants is just going to be there.
Probably,
just unceremoniously.
It's supposed to be an R-rated movie, though. That's the tricky part. I don't know what the deal is there.
Well, fuck it. They'll just tone it down and release it as a PG-13 cut. Fine. Unceremoniously.
Well, no one's really going to care anyway, so it's fine. Okay, so Artemis Fowl. This is like so again. This is supposed to be. It's based on. I wanted. I don't know. I went into this not knowing the book series. I knew it was based on a book. I had no idea what it was. So I went on the marketing and the trailer that I saw, and basically all the posters and everything keep saying, world, basically criminal masterminds. A kid who's a criminal mastermind. He's learning from his father, who was Colin Farrell. So that was sold me on the movie. Oh my god. I was actually thinking about seeing this.
Is Colin Farrell actually in the movie?
You want me to tell you?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. He's not in it at all. Well, sorry,
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
He's in it, but they write him out unceremoniously. So he's
I
in
had
it,
a feeling.
And he comes back, but it's really it's like a waste of Colin Farrell. It's a waste of Colin Farrell and Judi Dench. Judi Dench has a role. I can't even
call Dumbo a waste of Colin Farrell, dude. You have to be really bad to be a waste of Colin Farrell.
So okay, on the whole, basically, here's what ruins the movie for me. Okay, so I go into this thing thinking, okay, kid's gonna be a criminal mastermind, learn from his dad, trying to live up to his father. Josh Gad's in is kind of like this guy framing the narrative, could be interesting. That's the marketing I got. I was thinking, okay, spy movie, kids steal, made Ocean's 11 for kids. Okay.
Yeah.
I was sold on it, and it's coming to Disney Plus. Okay, make it at home. All right, this is what is okay. Let's see how this goes, and it involves magic, a lot of magic. I mean,
told you that.
I had no idea. That's like, I had no idea going in the movie. There's gonna be magic in this thing. And here's the thing:
I'm vaguely familiar with the books.
But I'm saying the marketing campaign has no inkling of magic, really. So if you're going into this thinking like, okay, kid has like all these gadgets and has like the fancy glasses and everything, which apparently are magical, which again they look like technology because he can anyway. It's basically a lot of magic for the sake of it's a magical world we live in. Ooh, that's pretty much the tone. So again, it's a waste of Colin Farrell and Judi Dench. We made Judi Dench like the queen of the fairies or something. Like basically, she's like the leader of the fairy organization. Josh Gad is the best part. He's basically here's the thing: here's the way he's playing the role, and it'd be great in a different movie. It's like he's auditioning for the role of Mole in the Atlantis of Lost Empire movie. Because his character's kind of a digger, and that's the effect you got to see how he digs. That's like so weird you got to see it. But no, his character was like he was the best part. I'll give that. The kid himself wasn't bad, I guess, but Josh Gad was like the main reason. If you're ever gonna brave the movie, it's wise. The whole thing's just bland. It's very forgettable. It's a waste of Colin Farrell. And let me put it this way, man. It is no Timmy Failure. I'm still impressed by Timmy Failure, man. That movie, that was a Disney Plus original, man. That movie still has.
I forgot how much you like that one.
That is a charming movie based on a book, and that one turned out gobs better than that. Has half the budget of this thing, I'm sure, and still it turned out even better in this thing, infinitely better in Artemis Fowl.
I want to point out, Claude says the trailer for Netflix's upcoming animated movie Over the Moon is out. Dragon, do you know about this one really quick?
I heard the title for this, and I think I saw like when Netflix was advertising their coming attractions, but I didn't see the full trailer for it. I don't know.
I haven't seen the full trailer either yet, Claude, because I don't want to distract myself from the podcast, of course. But Dragon, I've got 2 words that are going to sell you on this thing. All right.
All right.
Glenn Keane. In the director's chair.
All right, I'm interested. I'm sold.
Okay, but Claude, the Pirates of the Caribbean thing we cut out of the news, but I will say, Claude, I just think like either make a Pirates of the Caribbean 6 or make a female Pirates reboot. Don't make both of them at the same time. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Because at first I thought, like, Claude, please, if you have the answer here, I would love to know what the hell is the difference between the Pirates of the Caribbean female movie with Margot Robbie and then the one with Karen Gillan that was going to come out. I'd love to know what the hell the difference is. So I genuinely don't know. All right.
Right. So lastly for the June stuff, this one's kind of complicated, but I mean it came out for everyone to see in June, so I put it here. It's called "Cleaning Up the Town: Remembering Ghostbusters." So what this is a documentary in the works for a long, long time. So long, Harold Ramis has interviews in this thing.
Oh wow.
He's been going for a while, folks. I want to say since 2014.
Mm-hmm.
They probably shot this in 2013. So we're going that all the way back. So Basically, this is like the making of documentary for Ghostbusters. I mean, you basically got a decent one for the Toys That Made Us. Sorry, not for the movies that made us on Netflix. So they kind of the spin off of the Toys That Made Us. This is like the definitive making of the first movie. I hope they're doing a sequel for the second movie, which would be I think would be cool because Ghostbusters 2 is underreported, honestly.
So is Wayne's World 2.
True, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So that's the thing. This is it's basically they have some really cool things. They realized the original pitch of Ghostbusters. You always hear about like it's supposed to be like John Belushi in the movie and Eddie Murphy. So they kind of realized that in animation is kind of demonstrating what it would look like, the original concept. It's good. It's you catch up a lot of the players. I mean, like a lot of players, obscure players. Unfortunately, no Bill Murray. I'll tell that just so you don't get your hopes up.
Man.
But Bill Murray's tough to get.
Out, Jesus.
You gotta admit, you'll rarely ever. I don't think, honestly, I'm gonna say, I don't think Bill Murray's ever done a documentary.
Really? Huh.
I really don't think he has.
That.
I could be wrong. I'm just saying, how hard it is to get a hold of him. But I imagine getting him for a documentary would be extremely hard.
Was Aykroyd on there pumping out his Crystal Skull vodka?
It's weird. He was on there. He wasn't talking about the vodka. The vodka might have been in the set, though.
Oh my God,
it might have been. I know he does that a lot. Okay, so the point being, he's I'm saying like a lot of the ancillary players, like the violinist that was dating Dana Barron, like the test subject, the whole electroshock thing, the guy with the gum, like they got the guy with the gum.
Yeah. Okay.
So, there's like cool stuff like that. They show you how slime was brought to life, the proton packs. It's really a lot of good insights. And again, I would really hope there's a part two. These guys, this is a really nicely done like retrospective on Ghostbusters. That's all I'm gonna say. You can watch it free on Crackle, by the way. So I'd recommend people check it out.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to some catch up, Dragon.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to start with Munich.
Yeah, so Spielberg month happened in June. Again, hence yet another correlation with Jaws. We kind of celebrated the works of Steven Spielberg, and we started with Munich.
So here's the deal with Spielberg month, Dragon. I was really hyped to get to one of them, and I was really dreading one of them. And let's just say that kind of the opposite result happened. I didn't dread Munich, but like Munich is great in some respects, but it's very flawed. It's very uneven for me. It's not one of the lost masterpiece Spielberg movies like I was hoping it would be. It's a great movie. Eric Bana, it's probably Eric Bana's trademark role, I think. I think it's way overly long. It's pretty overly complicated too, if you want to know the truth. There's a lot going on. It's probably Spielberg's most politically ambitious movie. I respect it a lot more than I actively like watching it.
Yeah, I think, again, for me, this was a great companion after watching Hunters, where kind of you're entertained the idea of like, of Jewish people getting revenge for like some of, kind of the concept of Jews getting revenge, which is an interesting idea. Better explored in Hunters, mind you. It's not that it's not well explored here. It's a different thing. It's two different animals. That's like, it was a Nazi Hunter. This is very much like basically revenge is counterterrorism, which is really interesting. And again, importantly, kind of a sobering realization. It's like this. I like the ethical arc that Eric Bana's character goes on through the movie. That's the best part of the film for me. Spielberg doing a movie about the nature of revenge in parallel to the Munich massacre is a really good idea, and I do like the movie. Outside of one weird choice at the end, mind you. Okay, we make one really weird choice at the end of the movie, but it's very well directed. I think it's a solid movie. Again, Eric Bana is great as a lead. It's a topic that's not for everyone. Definitely not a movie. Unless I really wanted to sit down with a mission. I'm going to watch Munich again. It's not like when I casually watch. Right. Hey, I'm just going to let it play. I'm going to watch this. It's not exactly like that, but again, like the performances and the character progression is really good. Again, Spielberg unintentionally, I think, his most political film. It's a double-edged sword for sure. Kind of cut him a little bit more than he had hoped. It's like I respect that he made it. I'm with you, Tiki. I think I like it a little bit more, but I respect it. Would I go back to it soon? Probably not.
All right. So, Dragon, let's get to the next movie that won an actor, an acting Oscar, but is it really a great movie in my opinion? Looking at you, Darkest Hour. Looking at you. Let's talk Judy.
Yeah, so you've seen this, and I finally got the chance to see it because it was on Epix.
And I was not a fan.
So here's where I'm coming down on it. I thought it was good, but definitely overhyped. You know.
I mean, I don't think the performance is overhyped, and I don't think anyone really loved the movie, so I think it's an equal level of hype, Dragon, but that's the thing. It's a great performance in a really average movie for me. And I feel like they could have... I like the flashback stuff. I feel like they could have explored it so much more than they actually did.
Yeah, let me echo that. I really love the flashback stuff of Louis B. Mayer. I thought that was haunting and standout. So I love that in the narrative. Again, as I guess when you phrase it low, you put it in those terms. Like, yeah, I guess the performance wasn't. The performance is good. I mean, that is where the hype's coming from. I was basically judging the movie along with that hype, the performance hype, as like what the hype for the movie was.
But the movie didn't really get all that much hype outside of the performance, though. That's what
I mean,
I'm
the
saying.
movie. I mean, again, I'm not saying you should judge everything by Rotten Tomatoes. The movie does like an 80% Rotten Tomatoes, so there was hype.
Yeah, fair enough.
What I'm saying is, there's like looking at it overall, it's like not knowing how the movie's going to be. Is hearing the great performance, looking at the reviews, like, hey, it sounds like it's going to be good. So I'm going into this thing. So Zellweger, she brings I think she brings the magical moments to life, like from her last tour. Like again, when the big over the rainbow moment where her voice gives out, and then the whole audience that's a great moment. She's selling the performance. There's a documentary I talked about, a memoir or so back. It's called Sid and Judy. It's this documentary about her relationship with the husband that she had the kids with. It was in the movie, but a small role in the movie. And I think the documentary got a little better. Bear in mind, it's a documentary about that story versus this movie, where that is not the major story there. So it's different for sure. But I think I got a little. I think that represents the story better, the documentary. Mm-hmm. But, again, there's some heartbreaking scenes of seeing her failings as a mother, but her heart, I like that we see that her heart is in the right place, where her kids tell her, like, they want to stay. They don't want to go with her. So, like, those are the moments that her performance are really coming through for me. I love seeing, like, the idea with her trying to be with her kids, that her impetus for the movies, like, she's clinging to the life that she was denied in those flashbacks, and, then that fame and everything just are telling her that she can't have both. Fame and everything, just she can't have both.
Yeah.
So again, good. Not great, but it's good.
All right. So, yeah, Dragon, I have been dreading watching Warhorse since we started Spielberg month, buddy. I really have been. I have wrote this movie off for so fucking long. I just it's just the British movie where they pronounce the word horse the whole time. Oh, God. Dragon, I was so naive and young, and Jesus Christ, this is a beautiful movie.
Every time you go like, oh, horse, it's an old horse movie.
I know. Dragon, this is a lost Spielberg masterpiece, I think. I really do.
Would you say it's another Always?
Oh, yeah, I think this is better than Always. I mean, Always is great, don't get me wrong, and Always is probably even more underrated than this. But I mean, this is a sweeping epic of a movie, man. It really, truly is. It caught me. It swept me off my feet. Dragon, put that on the VHS cover. But seriously, I love the way that this movie. I've said this before when we did the commentary. I'll say it again. I love the way this movie has a 3-act structure. In terms of like, Act 1 is the boy and his horse story. The sentimentality that we really need to get glued into the story of the horse, the grounding point, if you will. Act 2 is seen through the horse himself, and granted, there's a couple too that we could have done away with, but it's all in favor of the story. It's basically Appa's Lost Days, but in the form of a horse, for lack of a better word. And then Act 3 is the big reunion. So, man, there's so much to glean from here, Dragon. Of course, one of the big things is just the use of practical horses. I mean, that alone is just effing wonderful.
There is amazing horse acting in this movie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, in the days of Call of the Wild, where it's like, yeah, we're just going to CG all the dogs. We're just going to CG every dog in this dog movie. In this dog movie about realistic dogs, we're going to CG them all. I'm still not over that. So, yeah, it was very refreshing to see so much physical action going on. And even the couple shots that were obviously CG were still really exciting shots. And yeah, just I really do think the first act is so satisfying in terms of, goddamn, it might be sentimental and corny and nostalgic, but it really does work in terms of like, you love this horse and you love this boy with the horse, and you can't bear to see them get separated, Dragon. It's really well done. And I will wager to say, Dragon, I know I stumbled all over it when we got to the speed round question for it on the debate, but I legitimately think this is top tier Spielberg daddy issues.
It is, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like, I went through, like, when doing the commentary, illustrating the whole Daddy Issues parable, like how it's kind of also Spielberg as a filmmaker, and like how he's kind of like a representative of the system telling him he's wrong. And
that fucking Gone with the Wind moment at the end where he hands off the medal back to his dad. Oh god, that's still got to me like back, like even like, even like a month later.
Because basically, when he hands it to him, he's saying, like, I understand you now. That's kind of what the conveyance being conveyed,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, so War Horse, like, on the whole, like, it's surprisingly good and earnest. Earnest is definitely the word that kind of summarizes it. It's very earnest in the kind of the story it's telling, and kind of grounding the sentimentality. It's, I love that it was more, I was dreading it was just going to be a boy and his horse movie. I love how the horse kind of represents hope and civility and war. It's like war of the older eras was like, we could ride into battle with horses. There was like a civility in it. And we're trying to bring civility into like the new dawn of World War I, which is really interesting. Third act with the whole trench of it all was great.
Yes.
It's great. Also, Tom Hiddleston.
I will say it's a better World War I movie than 1917.
I'll take your word on that. And of course, Tom Hiddleston. He's got Charm for Days with a brief role. It's a brief role, but it's a really nice role. I'll get that in there. Okay.
All right, so I saw Bubba Hotep for the first time, Dragon.
Yeah, I love.
And this was a wild ride, buddy. It was. I still need to watch it a couple more times to fully wrap my head around it, Dragon. But I love what I see of it. I really do. The thing I love the most about it is, and we talked about this when we talked to Jacob Gulliver about the film, is I love how the movie starts out and it's so ambiguous where it's like there's such an unreliable narrator quality to it with these two. And by the time we get to the end sequence in the graveyard where they're facing off against the mummy, you are like, come on, Elvis, come on, JFK. You were so on board.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. So, I actually, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I actually, in preparation for that podcast, I picked up one of the sequels to Bubba Hotep. I didn't really meet the mention on there because it wasn't really relevant by the end of the time. I don't know. It was basically there are a couple sequels, and the one in comic form, and one of them is a crossover with Ash from Evil Dead called Army of Darkness, Bubba Hotep. Where basically, it's kind of Bruce Campbell gets to meet himself in comic form, which is really cool. Like, it's like Ash Williams is a big Elvis fan, so he gets to meet, like, he quizzes Elvis while they're doing karate with each other. It's really funny. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so Dragon, I don't even know if this should count, honestly, but you and I both quote unquote watched, more like reacted to Troll 2.
Oh, we saw it from start to finish, so it counts.
Dragon, I will say I don't know if a blind commentary was necessarily the best idea for this. Because I feel like this is one of those like Rocky Horror Picture Show or The Room type situations where you kind of need some context for some of this stuff. But from what I saw, I mean, it's entirely ridiculous. I will say this though, Dragon. By the end of the movie, I was a little bit browbeaten by it. I really was. I was like, okay, like how much more of this are we gonna watch? Like, I really was a little bit just.
It really drags in the end.
It does. And unfortunately, that's kind of contrary to some of my other favorite bad movies, like, something like The Room, where the room culminates in the epic TV throw, or something like Serenity, where Serenity just gets more and more batshit crazy as it goes on. This, it's just kind of like, I feel like this almost kind of peaks with, I mean, I don't want to say it peaks with Oh My God, because of course Oh My God is the most popular part of the movie. But I legitimately do feel like that was one of the more memorably bad segments that really stood out.
Yeah, I mean, this thing, it definitely lives up to its reputation as the worst movie ever made. It feels like it's designed for riff tracks in the Mystery Science Theater 3000. It feels like it's patently made just for people to riff on and just kind of like laugh at and just like kind of react to. It just feels like it's kind of tailor made for that sort of thing. For me, it lacks the charm of The Room for sure. I'd echo your sentiments.
Yeah,
yeah. Like it doesn't quite have the charm or like the longevity of The Room. Like I would, I'd probably go back to The Room before I go back to this thing. Weirdest movie you're ever gonna see, folks. I mean, it's goblins instead of trolls. It's like an anti-vegetarian thing. It's weird as all get out.
The weird Princess Bride thing with the ghost grandpa.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I love how we just left that hanging there.
Yeah, it's just
okay. So I saw another infamously bad movie. Dragon, I had to check this out because it was on Netflix. You know, Korra's not on Netflix. Oh no!
I know that still pisses me off. Netflix. Forget the fan debate about the ending of Korra. We can't talk about the ending of Korra until you put Korra on Netflix.
Oh God. No, Claude. I have not seen an episode of Central Park. It's another thing that's on my list. But so yeah, I saw The Last Airbender, the movie, the Shyamalan movie, and I mean, Dragon, yeah, it's terrible, but I knew it would be terrible, and it's a fun kind of terrible, so I honestly kind of dig it. Like, I'm not offended by it, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not. I'm sorry. It's just like it's too funny to be offensive.
The bending's so stupid, though. It's like we've seen how much cooler it is, and it's like they do like 50 dance moves and like just move slowly.
And that
across.
makes it hilarious, Dragon. That's fucking funny. All right, that's funny. That's bad movie comedy to me. Look. The most offensive thing about it to me is the acting. I mean, you know, outside of Dev Patel, who God bless him, he's doing his best. I think everyone is just across the board just has like no passion for the roles. I think the most offensive one is the fucking pathetic excuse of an eyebrow we get in this movie.
Oh, I mean don't be too harsh on the actor.
I'm just saying, it's not. Also, Zhao is just like very, very miscast.
He is miscast. That's another good actor, but again, wrong role for that guy. Wrong role for that guy.
Right. I will say the art direction I thought was pretty on point. I'll give it that much. The production design was there. Like, for the most part, it did look legitimately like a live action interpretation of the series. The bending is pathetic. Yes, absolutely. Sure. And the fight scenes are terrible. And, the acting is terrible and the plot is terrible. But God damn it, it looks okay. I think people give this movie too much shit for the way it looks, because I really do think that it's a nice visual representation of the show. It's not great, but, aesthetically it's there.
Remind me, because it's been ages since. Was Momo even in that movie?
No.
There's not even Momo. All right.
But Appa is like legitimately the best effect.
Sure. I mean, they have to. I mean, especially if they're not going to have Momo in there, they got to make sure Appa looks good.
Dragon, I'll be honest with you. I never cared about Momo. I don't really think you need Momo.
Well, obviously, in comparison, Appa's the superior sidekick. Sure. I'm just saying, like, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm a late bloomer of a fan. I didn't live through this when it came out. I'm sure if I lived through this, the scars would be a lot more deep. But obviously, like, I knew that this was shit from the moment it came out, so it wasn't like I was surprised that it was bad. And all I cared about is whether or not it was an entertaining so bad it's good movie or not. If it was an entertaining so bad it's good movie. So I'll kind of close the book on that.
Just think about the pain of it, man. Where again, like Avatar the movie comes out, and then they have like, but they stole the name of the good Avatar. Oh, the good Avatar. Let's go to that movie. You called it The Last Airbender. Let's put them on the screen. Let's do it by comparison. Like, no, that's not the. No, it's wrong. It's much better though. No.
I mean, I hear you, Dragon, and like I said, if I was an original fan, I'm sure I would have more harsh feelings about this movie. But as a so bad it's good connoisseur, I just can't be that mad. I can't be that mad that this movie exists.
The arrogance of youth.
I'm sorry.
All right.
All right, American Assassin. Tell me about this one, because this one has been kind of floating around my Netflix queue for a while. And
yeah, I remember seeing the trailers for this way back when. I think it was from 2017. It was this is a it's an anti-terrorism action movie. It stars Dylan O'Brien, who was one of the Spider-Man contenders back in the day. It was, remember, like Logan Lerman, who was really great in Hunters, by the way, along with Dylan O'Brien, were kind of in the contention for being Spider-Man. I don't know if it was for the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man or if it was for the MCU Spider-Man, because I remember...
I also remember Asa Butterfield.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I know Asia Butterfield was the main one for the MCU Spider-Man they were looking at. I don't know if Lerman made it to that one or not. I know he was considered for Garfield Spider-Man. Anyway. So, point being, it's Dylan O'Brien and Michael Keaton. So the idea, so again, I was tempted by the trailers back then. It just kind of ended up on Netflix, and I was like, yeah, I wonder if that movie turned out. Oh, lo and behold, it's on Netflix. Why not? So basically, what happens, like long and short of it, is they have this couple on vacation. The boyfriend, who's played by Dylan O'Brien, he proposes to his girlfriend, and they celebrate. And just as they celebrate, a terrorist cell attacks the beach, shoots everyone. Pretty much the opening of the Thomas Jane Punisher. He gets shot, but he doesn't get killed. Everyone around him dead, including the woman he loves. So this guy is kind of like on a one-man war on terror. He ends up joining the CIA Black Ops team, and he's trained by Michael Keaton. I think some of those scenes are some of the best, where he gets trained by a really hard and really experienced, really no-nonsense CIA guy, Michael Keaton. This guy's been around the bend. He knows this stuff. He basically trying to teach him how to follow orders and be part of a team and stuff. That's kind of what Keaton's training him to do. Taylor Kitsch is the bad guy. He's kind of like the evil version of the Dylan O'Brien character in a sense. He's kind of like the evil reflective version of that. Have a stuntman, Scott Adkins, doing some really cool action in the movie too as well. So they work him in there. Basically, just on the whole, the thing's like a throwback to classic uber patriotic action movies, where again, like the guy, like he's really, he hates terrorism because he killed his soon to be wife, killed his fiance. And I can get behind a guy I can get behind I can get behind a character like our main guy here. And he was good. Dylan O'Brien was good in the movie as well. Like the idea is he was like the most dangerous agent at what he does. He's really good at what he does. He was tracking down the terrorist cells, but then of course CIA came in and said, okay, you got to work with us. We can't just have you run willy-nilly. There's like a nuclear bomb chase in the third act. So again, it has while it has the highs of the old action movies, has the lows of it too. Had a really good director on it. Had Michael Cuesta on it. He directed a bunch of episodes in the first season of Dexter, and did the pilot for Elementary. Did 6 Feet Under. It's simple but cool stuff. It's kind of a movie in a nutshell. Simple but cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, so Dragon, I braved the wrong Missy.
Yeah, I watched it when you go on Netflix and you leave it on there for a while, and it plays like the trailer for it automatically.
Oh boy.
I saw a trailer for this thing. It did not look good. Can I assume it was accurate?
I mean, I don't want to talk too much shit about this one because I enjoyed it on a purely turn your goddamn brain off and check it at the door kind of way. I really did. I mean, it's not a great movie by any means. It's a ridiculously stupid movie, but I don't know. Dragon, the reason to watch it is David Spade, okay? David Spade, it's so great to see him back, and I really don't think he's missed a beat. He's still on point with his comic timing, and that's one reason to watch it. The reason not to watch it is the title character, as you might imagine, Dragon.
Yeah, that was the vibe I got from the trailer. The title character. This is indeed the wrong Misty. What shenanigans is? What is this, man? I don't like this Missy character at all.
It's a very ridiculous series of events where it's like he goes on a blind date with the original Missy character who's the wrong Missy, and then he just randomly hooks up with the girl of his dreams at a hotel bar one night, and she happens to be named Missy also. And so then he invites Missy to go to a company retreat with him. But oh, shenanigans, Dragon! He texts the wrong Missy because he had the name saved in the phone. Oh my god! And the whole movie, I mean, you saw the trailer. You know what's up. It's that. I mean,
so pretty much what you see is what you get on the trailer for this one.
Yes, but having said that, Dragon, I will say, we all know that David Spade is a man who can have some pretty goddamn funny reactions, right?
I mean, Tommy Boy, for example. Again, he's an MVP in Tommy Boy.
And so because of that, Dragon, David Spade is, he's absolutely on point with his reactions. He really is. And because of that, I can't be mad at this thing. It's insufferable in some ways, but in other ways, it's really funny to just see David Spade just be put completely through the ringer, probably more than we ever have before with him. Man, I gotta tell you, if you miss David Spade, if you miss seeing him in movies, this is worth watching. Don't go in expecting anything other than trashy, ridiculous, jokey shit. But man, I will say this, Dragon, it's better than a good person. I enjoyed this better than Jack and Jill or something like that. It's not Jack and Jill bad.
Okay.
I had a good time with it. I mean, like I said, if only for David Spade. David Spade is the reason to watch it.
All right.
All right, Dragon. Let's kind of do some speed round here. We got five of them to get through.
Yeah. Okay. True Lies.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about this movie. I've never seen it.
So yeah, I turned to this because last month I watched In Search of the Last Action Heroes on Amazon, which is also really good. It talks about all the action movies, including True Lies, and I kind of had a revelation, oh my god, I always kind of lumped this one in with a different Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I didn't know something else. I confused it for The Running Man or something like The Running Man. And it is, and this I didn't know. This is this is like a James Cameron collaboration, and it's kind of part comedy. I didn't know that. That intrigued me. Oh god, I got to look at it. And I could, by sheer happenstance, I swear I had a copy of this on DVD. I never watched. It's oh god.
Nice. I love when that works out.
Yeah. So anyway, this was I got to tell you, man, this was great and lived up to the hype because this was really kind of a well remembered film for a lot of people. This is basically the premise for this one, quite simply, Schwarzenegger in a James Bond parody. It's what if Bond had a mundane family life that he kept kept it secret from his family, and then what if the two intersected? Jamie Lee Curtis plays his wife, and she's just gold in this movie. Jamie Lee Curtis, not only acting wise, this is the most attractive you're ever going to find Jamie Lee Curtis too. She's amazing in this movie. All senses of the word. Tom Arnold, Tia Carrera's in it. She plays one of the bad people. You have Tom Arnold. It's a little dated with the This is 90s terrorism pre 9/11, as you can probably guess.
Yeah.
And James Cameron, again, he's doing a lot of awesome practical effects and practical set pieces. Arnold Schwarzenegger, no joke, he rides horseback into an elevator. I'm not joking. And you have this Harrier jet that essentially he's shooting up a building. He basically crashes through a building on a Harrier jet. So this is what I'm talking about the pre 9/11 thing. This is not. Maybe they don't get away with this in a post 9/11 world.
Of course.
So basically, it's another. I think it's another win for the Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of record of films. It's one of the good ones. It kind of goes in the win category. I really liked it. I'd highly recommend it to you. In terms, if you're looking for a good Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, go to True Lies. A lot of fun.
Cool.
Okay. Right, next, Haywire. So the next two, I got recommended to me in like one of those Netflix videos. Like, look at our action movies. Here's what we recommend for you. So actually, I went with Haywire, which we mentioned recently.
I'm not. I probably don't even have action movies in my algorithm on Netflix, to tell you the truth.
Well, no, I watched like a video on YouTube about like best action movies.
Oh,
on
okay.
Netflix.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so a point being, Haywire was recommended through there, and then coincidentally, it was brought up on Disney Gallery Mandalorian when they were talking about Gina Carano. So this was her acting pre-Deadpool. Before Deadpool, she had done this movie. This kind of put her on the map acting-wise after her her fighting career.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a Steven Soderbergh movie. I mean, you like Soderbergh, don't you?
I do. I mean, it depends on the project, but yeah.
I mean, he did the Ocean's movies, did Logan Lucky, and it's
Logan Lucky is my favorite thing he's done, but yeah.
Okay, well, again, just keep it simple. Carano, she's great in the movie. The story's the movie. The whole thing starts off with a really good framing device. Like she's really good in the framing device, how they do that. It's not much of a caper per se, per like Soderbergh's other works. They don't go in expecting like a huge caper that's going to pay off. It's basically it's a straightforward. There's a double cross, and she's seeking revenge for said double cross. And there's no mind-bending reveals at the end. Like they kind of treat it like a little bit like, oh god, this is what happens. I mean, that's not really much of a surprise. So taking that for what you will. There's a great cast. You have like Michael Fassbender, Ewan McGregor, Michael Douglas, Antonio Banderas. Like a cast, man.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton has a really nice understated role as well. Like before he died, so he's in this too. I think it was made in like 2011. It's good, and again, watch it for Gina Carano. If you're gonna watch it for her. If you want to see what she's like in other projects. I know you like Cara Dune. If you want to scratch the old Cara Dune itch, this would be like a nice simple thing.
Okay.
The other thing, Gridlocked. So this is better than don't listen to the critics, man. It's a little better than what the critics say. This is like an old school throwback. The director who worked on this was like Alan Unger. He did the Uncharted fan film. I don't know if you've seen it. They did like live action fan film of Uncharted with Nathan Fillion and Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang, bad guy from Avatar, he is in this. He plays the bad guy in this as well. Basically, you have a cop who's tasked with babysitting kind of this spoiled celebrity who basically took a plea deal to shadow the LAPD so he can research a role, and it's kind of like community service. So he basically have like this young hotshot who's seen like all the cop movies. Like, hey, yeah, I want to teach him how to shoot a guy, and it's Dominic Purcell's. There's like the straight laced cop. Dominic Purcell. He was on the Flash on the CW shows. That's the reason I watched the thing, and. He was in Blade Train. He's in Prison Break. I love him in Prison Break. Anyway, so he's like a former SWAT guy. They go to a SWAT base, and basically Danny Glover plays like a veteran cop who's there. There's a Lethal Weapon vibe. It's like Lethal Weapon meets Die Hard, so they're kind of making fun of the old cliches a little bit in this. Vinnie Jones has a small role as well. He's in it. Not like full tilt Vinnie Jones, but he's in it.
Nice.
Yeah. That's not a thing. So not funny Vinnie Jones, but it's just kind of they have like a cool face-off between Vinnie Jones and Dominic Purcell. It's kind of cool. It's it's not nothing to write home about. You have some good people in it, like Saul Rubinek, good actors. Basically, the Hollywood guy has a very Jesse Pinkman-esque vibe to him with this Brody Walker character, which is kind of fun. Like he learns throughout the course of the movie. He gets better as it goes along. A little bit of a Jesse Pinkman learning as he goes along. Anyway, so Gridlocked, it's fun. That's a turn your brain off kind of fun one. It's like, hey, Gridlocked, it's kind of cool.
Okay.
All right, big one. Okay, Danny Collins. This was great. I've heard about this. I watched this on Father's Day. It's a perfect watch for Father's Day. And I was also in a Pacino mood. Al Pacino's is an Al Pacino movie.
Oh yes, this is a recent Al Pacino movie, isn't it?
Yeah, this is from 2015.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, you're gonna love Tiki. You really got to check this out, buddy. Okay, so this is it's Al Pacino. It's on Amazon if you want to find it. Dan Fogelman directed this. Dan Fogelman, he's written on Cars and Tangled and Bolt, but the big thing, of course, he created, wrote, and directed some Gallivant. He's the man behind Gallivant. He did this one.
Oh yeah.
So basically, very fascinating premise. I'm just going to tell you the premise. So basically, it's you have an aged, famous rocker who was Al Pacino, who receives a letter. This is based on a true story. Basically, the premise is true. The rest of it is kind of fabricated for the movie. Rocker receives a letter sent to him 40 years ago from John Lennon, who basically said, like, hey, before fame consumes you and everything, stay true to the music, and hey, reach out to Yoko and I if you need any help or you want to talk. So he never received the letter for 40 years after he's become like the aged, drug addicted, hard living rocker. So
and we're living in the yesterday universe, so of course John Lennon is still alive at this point.
Funny. Funny.
Sorry.
So basically, Pacino, he's in real life, it was like an English singer. In this case, Pacino kind of plays kind of a Neil Diamond-esque kind of act. It's kind of he's very Neil Diamond-esque. So he basically gives up the rocker life and he goes to New Jersey to reconnect with his family that he abandoned. And it's a beautiful. You know how I hype up The Intern as like the most pleasant movie ever made?
Oh yeah.
Imagine The Intern with an edge. It's The Intern with an edge, where there's some darkness in there, man, but there's a triumph in this. There's something really pleasant. Like Christopher Plummer's in it. Bobby Cannavale, Mr. Verbal Confirmation.
Oh,
he plays Pacino's son in this. He's really good. He has the anyway. So I really recommend this. It's really good stuff.
All right. So last one, Dragon, take it away.
The last one, most important one of the whole month.
Ooh.
Falling Down. So this was my tribute to Joel Schumacher. This is a movie I wanted to see Falling Down for the longest time, but it was never available streaming-wise. And I've always wanted to watch the movie. And I after Joel Schumacher's passing, I kind of had the things connected where I realized I never knew who directed Falling Down. I just wanted to watch it for the Michael Douglas factor.
Uh-huh.
And I saw a clip of it. I was always fascinated by this clip, and I'd always like check on demand and everything. Say, yeah, I wonder if it's streaming anywhere. No, nothing. Rent it. It's like I don't want to do that. So anyway, so what happens is I find out Schumacher passed away, and everyone's like talking about their favorite Schumacher movies. I'm hearing a lot of Lost Boys. I'm hearing Falling Down. I forgot the name of the movie. It's like, yeah, the Michael Douglas movie. And then afterwards, I looked into it, like, oh my god, Falling Down is the Michael Douglas movie, and I felt so terrible. Like, oh, this movie I wanted to see. I wish I would have watched it while he was still alive. So I bought the movie. I bought a DVD of the movie. And Tiki, this movie, it's so good. This is why Schumacher gets a Batman. This is where you get like Schumacher for a serious Batman movie. This is basically like the cornerstones of like Batman the Animated Series with the villain origin. This is like the Clock King losing his mind and going on a crime spree. This is like that sort of stuff. This is it's like the hottest day of summer and defense engineer, like a guy who works for the Defense Department of the United States. He's an engineer, gets stuck in traffic and basically has a psychotic break. He just quietly leaves his car in traffic and he begins this odyssey walking home in like 90s LA, the cultural melting pot of LA. And it's like you have this morally ambiguous journey as a man unravels, and a guy who's like worked towards the American dream of the 50s confronted with the American dream of the 90s, like how it's not America anymore. It's kind of like there's a lot of kind of a foreign melting pot of LA. It's really interesting. See, it's basically, but again, this is a guy with kind of a conscience where he's not all bad. He's questioning the civility and the state of the country as he's quietly just trying. He just wants to go home, and there's like a tension that builds in the movie. Like, oh God, when he goes home, is he gonna kill his family or not? Like, you don't know. And like Robert Duvall's in it, he's trying to put a stop to it on his last. They take a cliche and they kind of work with in the movie where it's like Duvall's last day until retirement. Tensions escalate. Douglas gets more and more like violent and unhinged as he goes along, and it's like you're questioning, is he a bad guy or not? Because he does have a moral code, and it's gripping, it's tense, it's insanely human. Best thing I've seen from Joel Schumacher. I haven't seen Lost Boys, but this is the best Joel Schumacher movie.
It sounds like it's better than Lost Boys, if I'm being honest with you.
Tiki, it's so good. You gotta watch it when you can.
Well, where do you actually find it?
Well, again, I had to buy it on DVD, man. Yeah, that's the thing. You probably have to rent it if you get it, but that's the kicker. But again, it was worth it, man. It was worth taking it.
All right. Okay, and that'll do it, folks. All we have to do now is best and worst. So, Dragon, my best is going to be pretty easy. I mean, honestly, Oh, yes. Honestly, Warhorse is pretty much the only thing that I saw this month that really stuck with me in any sort of significant way. If I'm being completely honest with you, it's either that or Bubba Hotep. Don't get me wrong, I really liked Bubba Hotep as well. But between the two, man, I got to give it to Warhorse. And then for worst, Dragon, I could choose The Wrong Missy. I could choose The Last Airbender. But I got to go with the King of Staten Island. King of Staten Island just felt like such a waste of my time and my $20. And yeah, I am bitter about the $20 thing, but I'm more bitter about just Judd Apatow just, like continuing to just shove these emotionally manipulative 2.5 hour dramedies down our throats. I've really had enough of it. So that's about it. Your best and worst, Dragon?
Am I just combining both of them, or just
Yeah, combining both. So you have
okay,
to
out of everything, both present and kind of catch up.
Yeah.
Best thing, Falling Down, no question. Falling Down was the best. I mean, Danny Collins comes in second, but I mean, Danny Collins was also really good, but Falling Down was the one that blew my socks off. Worst thing, I mean, just by definition, Troll 2. I mean, it kind of has to be, doesn't
it? Fair enough. Fair enough. I won't argue with you there.
I mean, it's either that or Artemis Fowl, but I mean, Troll 2 was.
Yeah, I was going to say Artemis Fowl's also probably a solid choice.
That's what I'm saying. It's a contender, but I mean, just to respect them, just to respect the lineage, the legacy of Troll 2, I kind of have to say it's the worst, and I would.
That's true. That's true. All right, fair enough. I can respect that. All right. Well, folks, we've waxed on long enough. It's time to put the pen down. Until next time, when we return for another fitting chapter in our
movie memoirs.
What was? So what was?
Amity means friendship.